Hola, everybody! Welcome back to the Marathon of Mercy. I, of course, am Whatthefnu. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Special welcome to 427 Arbok, Rizakilla. You are the guys who showed up here early. Maybe somebody else did. If they have, they haven't said anything, so I apologize. Just as a refresher for everybody who's here about what this is all about, because it's the start of the stream. Oh, by the way, before we do anything, before I explain that, you may be wondering why there's no actual game on the screen. Well, I have game capture set up to Katawa Shoujo, and it's not showing anything. So guess what we get to do again? We get to have our good old friend display capture in the forefront. And we're just gonna go into options and full screen this nonsense, because it's the only thing that works. My favorite. Now it's gonna be a pain to check whenever I get a new follower. If I get a new follower tonight. Let's not make assumptions here about that. Yes, okay, so the Marathon of Mercy. This is, if you're familiar with how bits work, they're the inside currency Twitch uses to make it really easy to donate to your favorite streamers. You can access them by clicking that little gem-shaped icon in the corner of your chat. So, for every 1,000 bits that's given to anybody anywhere on the site from September 5th to September 19th, the Twitch will be matching that with a $2 donation to St. Jude's Hospital, which is really cool and awesome, and it's why we're here promoting that and playing a bunch of games that are really upbeat, positive, feel good. Gives you a reason to smile, which you wouldn't think this would be the one for that kind of thing, you know? You wouldn't think this is the kind of game, given the subject matter. It's one of those... 4chan is the one that started this up. You gotta understand how these guys work. They only do anything if it's funny. And hence the name of the stream. That's the ultimate joke, is that they actually put their hearts and souls into creating this game and made something that was legitimately good. So now you get to laugh at anybody who sees the premise and goes, no, that can't possibly be good, can it? Just you wait and see. This game is phenomenally written, it's phenomenally paced, it's got great characters, great settings, great dialogues, but why sit here talking about it when you can actually experience it for yourself? So, let's experience it for ourselves. Let me actually move the mic a little bit more. There's a lot of dialogue in this game, so I had to move it out of the way, so if I sound slightly different, that's why. Light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular treat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now, in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. So how long am I expected to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. Ah yes, the note. Slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker. But at least this way shows a bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, snowfall gradually thickens. Yeah, so we do have to play again, Ryza. Very, very soon, as a matter of fact. Tomorrow, if I can help it. Snowflakes silently falling from the white-painted sky are the only sign of time passing in this stagnant world. Their slow descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time is slowed to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me, interrupting the quiet mood. Someone's approaching me from behind. Hi, Hisao? You came? A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of that dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams. My heart begins to race. Well, off to a good start if we've got the girl already. Iwanako? I got a note telling me to wait here. It was yours? She's gotta be awfully cold in that skirt, I'm not gonna lie. Damn it, I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line, and that was the result. Pathetic. Yes. I asked a friend to give you that note. I'm so glad you got it. Shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't move a single muscle even if I tried. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst out from my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches. Well, give me a second here. Who is this? Forgive the display capture here. That was... Who resubbed? Oh, the thing is broken! Thank you. Now I can actually say thank you to whoever this beautiful person is. Mood ruined. Yeah, maybe it might be best to turn off the notifications for tonight. QuezBT, thanks for resubbing, man. For 3 months in a row, thank you. Come on in, have a soda or something. Ahem. Wish you could feel how much my face is burning right now. Cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. As it passes, she rights herself, as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine, and she lazily twirls her long, dark hair around her finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there, motionless save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Hisao? I reach up to try to massage my throat, but this only sends spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hisao? My whole body freezes save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Hisao! The beating in my chest suddenly stops, and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, and Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. Last things I remember before slipping away are the sounds of Iwanako screaming for help and the incessant clatter of the branches above. I love how they set that up, too. You'll find out what happened to this guy in a second. But the fact that they made that look like it was just a typical response to this is how you'd normally react. Except for this is a bit of a more extreme circumstance. Look at this animation, too, here. I was actually blown away when I saw this the first time. It's like, wow, you got production value up in this. The crazy thing is you can download this game for free. Like, you can go get this right now. It's only like 423 megs or something like that. It's actually really small. It will require you to install it on your computer, but trust me, these guys are on the up and up. FMV animation, Mike and Nell. I knew it. That's why it looks so freaking good. And that guy needs more work, if he's not getting enough of it already. Patience, Ryza, patience. I want you to go through the same thing I did when I played this game for the first time. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. And that whole time, I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of time to come to terms with my situation. Arrhythmia. Strange word. A foreign, alien one. one that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition. Causes the heart to act erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess it was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. Really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I already had a full day by then to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were even willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from the treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts began trickling down to nothing shortly thereafter. I realized that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because sending me their sympathy had been turned into a class project. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyway. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. Doctors and nurses feel so impersonal and faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry. They have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar that those surgeries had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as some kind of an omen. Still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows that there is at least some hope. At some point, I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism from my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. Began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. After consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading, and I think I even became a bit addicted. Started feeling naked without a book in my hands. But I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly harder to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. I felt like time blurred into some kind of gooey mass I was trapped inside, instead of moving with. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times, all the things that surrounded me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I'd set up for myself. Pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely, and I couldn't even cry. Today the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some kind of special occasion? It's not a party. There's this ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers, then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment. "Hello, Hisao. How are you today?" I don't answer him, but I smile a little back at him. "I believe that you can go home. Your heart is stronger now, and with some precautions, you should be fine. We have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription." Doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I take it from his hand and take a look myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me from the paper seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contradictions, and dosages are lifted line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All this for the rest of my life? Every day? I'm afraid that is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents. We believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please, calm down, Hisao. Listen to what that doctor has to say. Calm down? The way he says it tells me he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that it's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So, I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. It's a school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? Am I? It has a 24-hour nursing staff, and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on the campus. Think of it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence, while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. If it was really that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't really able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple of weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to other heart problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity to continue your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamned opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one, special school, that's an insult. That's what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All of the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around to learn, but just need a little help in one way or another. Your father's right. Many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me. But what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I'd always thought my life was actually kind of boring. But now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now, something about how I can go back to school anyway. But no, I don't say anything. The fact is that I know now, it's futile. I look around the room, feeling very tired of all this. The hospital, doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel any different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school, what are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something. Even if it is a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start. My life isn't over. It'd be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life will look like. Yes, this is a dating sim. It's taking us a while to get to that point, isn't it? They're taking a very long time making it a point to establish who this guy is. And immediately, that's one of my favorite parts about this. The guy here isn't just a stand-in for you. He is a character in his own right. He has a personality, he has a place in the world. He has very clear defined motivations and goals and things he has to deal with. 1 gold star right off the bat. I love this already. Loved it back when I first played it. It looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, and gray plaster assembled into a whole that didn't feel welcoming at all. I wonder if it looked like what a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about the gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward feels good. So I walked towards the main building of Yamaku Academy with this brisk pace. I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms. There's supposed to be someone waiting for me. Grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. Doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have. Like a park, with a clean walkway going past trees, the smell of fresh-cut grass, and all other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. This makes me shudder. I shake them off. Stay open-minded now. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. Few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies. Too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my head, it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or caused by my expectations of a school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie. Makes me wish there was somebody here so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into another dimension. The trees hum with the wind. The green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. Makes me think about hospitals again. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a calming color. Well, blue is a calming color too, which they also have on this screen right here, if you'll notice. Isn't that kind of interesting, that contrast? How we started in winter, and now we've moved, as soon as we get to this place, we've moved on to green and lush and inviting. Something tells me nothing in this game was by accident. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself by realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was absolutely no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous and with this realization set in my head, I open the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be Nikki? Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom and science teacher. My name is Muto. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asked you for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Sup, Riddler man? Welcome to the chat. How are you doing tonight, dude? Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Well, I mean, I don't want to be a bastard about this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be at the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about my condition as I follow the teacher up the stairs. Third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for class 3-3. Muto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know that, but there isn't any point to worrying so much about it. At least not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high, and there's lots of space left over around and in between the desks. An entire wall taken by blackboards, and the high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. Students' desks are just standard wooden desks, with a shelf underneath for books and wooden chairs with metal frames. Simple and efficient. Stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students in any other school. But then why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them, only it's just not immediately obvious. Then I notice that one of the girls seems to be missing the thumb of her right hand. It's a little jarring. Despite the natural tendency to listen when someone's talking about you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me. A girl with really long, straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of the class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making some weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rims of her glasses, and then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kinda cute. So is the cheery-looking girl with pink hair sitting next to her. She's really hard to miss. I don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our newest classmate. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except one girl in the front row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. The collective silence tells me that I should open my mouth now. So, I'm Hisao Nakai. And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along well with everyone, even though I'm a new student. And after that, I'm being so boring. This is exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. I end up saying nothing, and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said, though. A few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. It could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along, while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap at their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The first row girl claps on this round, with her one hand against her other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. It makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She's the class representative. She can explain anything you might want to know. And who else would be able to do that? Who else would be able to do that better, right? How can I know? Teacher passes out the day's assignments and announces that we'll be working in groups of 3. I want to provide more commentary on this game. I just want to take a second to say that, but there doesn't seem to be many opportunities to. The music is really good so far, isn't it? I don't know if anybody else has gotten a chance to appreciate it so far. And all of the backgrounds, too, they look hand-painted, almost realistic, like maybe they're photographs that went through a watercolor filter in Photoshop or something. I'd really like to know if they were done by hand or what. It hits me that I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh, right. Hakamichi is right there. Shizune Hakamichi. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly-looking girl with bright pink hair and gold eyes waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi, right? It's nice to meet you. What? I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not Hakamichi, I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Shi-chan? Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. Looks like she's been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. She has short, yet carefully, neatly brushed hair. They're describing what she looks like, that means she's important. A pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of a dainty nose. Dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. I'm not gonna have to do much work with this one. You'll find out why in a bit. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me, saying things like, you'll be able to talk to people and who better to explain things to you. I can see you're a little confused, right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course. Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he would have been standing up there for no reason, right? Right? He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We knew there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you would be here today so soon. Hik-chan, right? Hik-chan? Yep, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? It's just a surprise. Never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits! You look just like I imagined. Yeah, you look just like Hee-chan. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Akamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Hee-chan wants you to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you haven't had the time to walk around and, familiarize yourself with it. Misha stumbles with the hard word a bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks, that would be pretty helpful. Yeah, it just kinda came straight to class today. That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there. Not just with school either. Always. Even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really, Hee-chan? Learn about where you're going? I guess I didn't bother to do that. Or just didn't care enough to do so. I need to learn to draw the line between when each of these characters is talking. Like, when she's speaking for, Shizune and when she's saying her own things. I imagine she's the kind of character that would give her a voice. You know, something a little deeper, just slightly more baritone. Something that'll make her sound intellectual, you know? I am frankly very impressed with the amount of characters in this game that are properly represented. Everyone has a face, almost. Not all visual novels and dating sims will go through that much trouble. Oh yeah, like I said, the guys behind this cared. That's another thing that stood out to me too. I wanted to point it out, but I was hoping somebody else would catch it. The fact that every other classmate in the room, even if we're never going to really talk to them, is still realized. They look like a person. They have actual character design behind them. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it half-assedly. But anyway, I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends in a shrug. What was that? Seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. You look down. You okay? Don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you just failed a test. Alright. Ah, and another thing. You don't have to call Hee-chan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Hee-chan. Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate? Yep, Shizune is fine. Okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel a lot more at ease. Both of them seem so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that. Just less so, I guess. Huh? Oh right, we haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now, or Hee-chan will get mad. The assignment is also kinda long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class. That too! Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message. After class, we can take a walk around the grounds together. It's a nice day today, okay? The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of being both difficult and unnecessarily long. Yeah, I've heard about Panzer Models, but never tried it out. How are you guys liking this so far? I've never actually streamed a dating sim before, but if you guys want to see more of the really good ones out there, like more VNs or no kinetic novels, I'm drawing the lines at that. I want to do something that's at least a bit more active than just advancing through text, you know? I want choices to be involved here. Still, we finish in a few minutes earlier than anyone else in the class, despite our late start. Shizune and Misha are really capable. This is pretty nice. Okay, I'm glad. All of that work doing audiobooks is paying off, I guess. I know where to put inflection. Then again, I've been doing YouTube for how many years now, so... Sup, Stormy? Welcome to the chat, man. How are you doing tonight? They're quite different, though. Class rep is as calm and professional as she looks. Well, Misha's a lot more playful and girlish. Not to mention a little more easily distracted.
We are connected.
Hey, we're even connected to Stormy. Just got finished watching the Nintendo Direct. Don't say anything. I have not seen it yet. Oh, that's why the late start. Again, thank you to everybody who came here instead of watching that. I really appreciate that I'm that high in your priority list. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel guilty about that. Clock tower bells ring, signaling the end of the period. Whew, time for lunch. Not knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who's beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descend even below the lobby where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything in this school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to the courtyard towards the main gate. It's the cafeteria! Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There's a rather long list of menu options, which seems great until I realize that many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. How nice. It almost feels like I'm back at the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of the patients. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table, sitting opposite of her. As I nibble indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand signs, so the point escapes me. Maybe looking at a person who talks to you is proper and polite? Do you want to know something? What? About anything. We're your guides, so you should ask if there is something. I wonder. Well, I mean, I don't want to be rude. She's deaf. There's not much more to know about that. Let's just step off of that and move on. The only thing I really know about this game, I've gone down most of one of the routes. I should say that, and I'll try to go back down that route again with a few minor changes here and there, and just applying the previous knowledge I have. But the only other thing I knew about this game going into it was what Jew Wario's review taught me. May he rest in peace. Basically, the sooner you get off of the sort of white knight, I feel sorry for these people kind of thing, the better you'll do in this game. And I took that to heart. Then again, I didn't need to know that. You're talking to somebody who grew up with a brother with autism, so yeah, I've been down that road several times. Let's go about the library. Oh yeah, is there a library in the school? Lately I've gotten to reading books, so I'd like to check it out. Misha gives the kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby, but then picks up her smile again. There is. It's in the second floor. We can show it to you sometime. Thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. An easily distracted interpreter. Right, good choice. What's Misha's disability? I don't rightly know. Like, they're really coy about that. Like, observing her from a distance, you get clues, but I'm not exactly versed in the field, so I don't know what's going on with her. It's something I really want to know about, but it's one of those things. It's unfortunately that fascination aspect of, like, you want to know what's going on with this person, you're just afraid to ask. Misha and Shizune sign back and forth very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me, but Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they're talking about secret girl stuff or something. I quickly notice a conversation in sign is not enough to fill the silence. We arrive in the classroom early, but we're not the first. That dark-haired girl I noticed before is slumped over her desk at the last row. She jumps a little when Misha crashes into the room with the elegance of a rhino. She shrinks deeper into her seat. I can feel her tension all the way from here, as if she were slowly turning into stone just from our presence. Misha and Shizune either don't notice or don't mind it. They walk directly past her to their seats and begin to converse. I'm left wondering about her, even when the classroom slowly fills with other students, and finally the teacher. Getting into the rhythm of school feels strange. It's as if my brain remembers how this is done, but my body doesn't. Towards the end of the class, I start yawning and counting the minutes left. I shouldn't be this tired on my first day of school. Maybe it's the long time spent in the hospital that made me like this. I'm even feeling physically weak and lifeless. Before long, the final bell rings. School is finally over for the day. Beside me, Misha and Shizune are having a short conversation. After a bit of deliberation, Misha turns to me. Unfortunately, we can't stay and show you around today, Hee-chan. We've got to hurry already, since there's a lot of work for us to do. You'll find your way around here, I'm sure of it. Wait, the teacher said I'd have to see the nurse. Where do I have to go? Oh, is that so? We can at least show you that much. Come on, the nurses have their own building, so we have to go outside. We join the flow of students, making their way down the stairwell and outside, with the girls pointing out other senior classrooms in the same hallway as ours. When we get outside, the girls make their way to the smaller building right next to the school. Another thing I want to point out right now, that I didn't really have the faculty to put into words till this moment. You notice how we've only met potentially 2 of the girls here. One of them really doesn't want us to talk to them. Like, she is very keeping to herself. We can't really enter that world yet. They are giving us a lot of time to get to know these 2 before introducing the others, as opposed to other visual novels and dating sims I've seen, where it's just like, here's everybody, let's introduce you to them as quickly as possible so they have as much time to sink in as they can. When in reality, just taking things step by step, giving you that, I guess the best way to describe it is that intimate time with someone is the best way to go about it. Like, letting it sink in, letting you understand exactly who this person is. Okay, don't treat your audience like they have ADD. Do it this way. I much rather like this approach, I'm not gonna lie. It's built in the same style, so it looks like it's actually a part of the main building. This is the auxiliary building here. There's a lot of official and important stuff inside, like the Yamaku Foundation office and all the nurses' offices. They even have a swimming pool. How is that official? Don't be silly, Hee-chan. It's for physical therapy, of course. Anyway, all the nursing staff faculties are in there too. The head nurse's office is on the first floor. You'll be fine from here, right? We'll be going then. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks. Bye! Whole building for stuff that has nothing to do with the actual education? I guess it's necessary for a place like this. I walk in, hoping that this really will be only a quick visit like the teacher said. On a white door on the left is a green cross with the text, Head Nurse, and a nameplate. A voice from the inside responds to my knock almost immediately, but I can't quite make it out. Sounded a bit like an invitation to open the door, so I invite myself further in. The room is not large, and it smells strange. A friendly-looking man turns around in his office chair to face me as I enter. His desk is neat and tidy, but the bin under the table is overflowing with used medical utensils, and there are at least a dozen coffee cup rings lingering on the desk. Hello there. What can I do for you today? He's young-looking and sort of rugged, but the dimples in his cheeks wash that impression away when he smiles. Are you the nurse? He smiles like a person who has heard this very same question hundreds of times. Why, yes, I am. It says so on the door, no? You can call me by my name, or just the nurse, like everyone else. Of course. I shake off my confusion, realizing I should probably grab his extended hand. His handshake's rather firm and friendly. Right, I'm a new student, and my homeroom teacher told me to come and meet you. My name's Hisao Nakai. His eyes light up with revelation, and he snaps his fingers. Not that I needed to do it, they had the sound effect in the game. Already giving this guy a distinctive audio identifier, I love it. Oh, you're that Nakai. I was just reading your file in the morning. Some kind of chronic arrhythmia and related congenital heart muscle deficiency, right? He gestures me to sit down in a vacant armchair in front of his desk. Yes. Good. Well, you've probably been briefed about the school enough, so I'll just go over this quickly. We have all kinds of facilities available, mostly physical therapy and such. There's always someone from my staff around, even at night, so never hesitate to call us if there's a problem. The famous 24-hour nursing staff. Wow, this is like a hospital. Well, not exactly. For instance, we don't do brain surgery here. This joke feels so out of place that I'm left thinking why he even said it. I think the issue derives from the fact that games in the genre can be rather short, and holding off on any characters could underexpose them. I want to put that to the test. As an experiment, because Tyranno Builder exists. I want to make this a challenge now. I want to try building a visual novel myself. I want to see how much work it actually is to do it right and everything. Because the common perception is, it's only pictures, how hard could it be, right? Something tells me I'm in for a very rude awakening here. Yeah, it's just that it's really weird to have so many medical people at a school. You'll get used to it. Not sure of that myself, but I don't let the nurse know it. Now, just let me find your file again. Well, he searches for something from his computer and shuffles stacks of papers around. I let my gaze wander around the room. It's the epitome of generic, I'd like to say. Beige walls and ceiling, dark gray laminate flooring, all the equipment you'd expect from a school nurse's office. Even the ridiculous educational posters are hanging on all four walls, reminding me to eat properly, 3 times a day and from all the food groups. Hey there, Santo Cristo. Welcome to the chat, man. How are you doing tonight? My first visual novel. Checking on Twitch for fun, but somebody's actually playing it. Thanks for coming, man. Smiling, the nurse draws a thick file from a stack of similarly thick files and opens it. So, you already have medication for the arrhythmia. Just remember to take your pills every morning and evening, or it won't be much help. Apart from that, do you do any sports? Rash stuff like, I don't know, boxing? He grins to his own joke, but I don't. Well, I played soccer occasionally with some classmates. Alright, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to recommend you refrain from doing that. At least for the time being. Oh. My lack of reaction makes him raise an eyebrow, but really, I'm not too bothered from him forbidding me to kick a ball around. I guess I never did it out of burning passion for the sport. Just to have something to do. Any kind of concussion might be very dangerous to your heart, and risking another attack is not a good idea. Was the previous one caused by a sudden concussion to the chest area? There's no mention of the cause in your papers. Not exactly. I sidestep the question acceptably, and he glances at me over his papers, with a more serious expression on his face. Still, you need to keep your body healthy, so some exercise would do you good. We have physical therapy and such available, as I said, but I don't think you really need such heavy measures. Just get some light exercise regularly. Brisk walks, or even light jogging, jumping rope, that sort of thing. Swimming, maybe? There's a pool here. So I was told. You were? Very good. At any rate, I'm sure you've been told this before, so you just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. So that delivery was more like, you just need to take care not to overexert yourself. He wags his finger to emphasize the point. No need, really. I've heard this 1,000 times already. Absolutely no unnecessary risks. Take care of yourself. Okay. He goes over my papers one more time and sets them on the desk, obviously content. Good. That's it then. Come meet me if you ever need something. I'm ushered out before I even realize it. Quick visit indeed. I end up standing in front of the main building and the auxiliary building, although to my eyes they still look one and the same. It's the first real look I get at the other students, so I watch people coming out of the school, going towards the gate or the dorms. Everyone seems to know where they're going. And I still keep thinking that most of them don't look too special for being students at a special school. Then again, neither do I. Does that make me one of them? One of us? I should go somewhere too, to prevent me from getting lost. It's around dinner time, but I feel tired instead of hungry. The weariness in me only grows as I trudge towards the dorms, set a little way apart from the main building complex. I'm gonna catch up on what everybody's been saying. There's a garden of sorts between the school. If I don't respond to anything, it's nothing personal. It's just I don't know what to add to it. You guys know me by now. I don't have to explain that. There's a garden of sorts between the school and the dorms. Shrubbery, flowers, that overbearing smell of fresh-cut grass that fills the atmosphere. Dawns on my tired mind that the smell feels novel because I haven't been outside at all for so long. The dorm building is big and made of red brick. One of my previous playthroughs. You might not know why I'm so happy, but if everything goes according to plan with the route I want to do, you will. You'll become very accustomed with this screen very soon. Like the others, it feels way too pompous for what it is, so I push forward, going inside. It takes more time than necessary to fish out the key I was given from my pocket. Room 119. Despite the ornate exterior, the inside of the dorm is fairly new, functional, and boring. Just like in the main building, the halls and doors are wide to accommodate wheelchairs. Same goes for the elevators at the end of the hallways. Poke my head around the corner of the common room door. Inside, a few students are watching the television. One nods and gives a quick hello before turning back to the TV. Seems that only the girls around here are sociable. I suppose that's perfectly fine with me. Didn't even read my essay a while back. Did you make a really big comment? Oh, the thing about, yes. Again, like, you explained everything to answer that question, so... And I'm not a big history buff, so there you go. Does that make me boring? Self-awareness time here on Fnu's stream. I really need to go out into the world and live more, but that requires money, which I'm working on getting. Y'all wouldn't want to throw some bits my way for charity, would you? I suppose that's perfectly fine with me. I climb the stairs to the upper floor. Here, small corridors branch off from the main hallway. Each of these minor halls seems to have a toilet and a shower, as well as 4 rooms. About halfway down the hall, I spy room 119. Nameplates on the rooms adjacent to mine are blank. I guess there are just 2 of us here. Light shines from below the dorm of room 117, so I knock lightly. Hello? Is anyone home? From inside, I hear a few movements, then the clicking of way more locks than I thought these doors had. After a moment, the door squeaks open. A bespectacled boy is standing in the doorway. He's looking at me very intently through his extremely thick eyeglasses.
Who is it?
Blind? No, at least not completely. Why would he have eyeglasses if he was? He leans closer to me until our noses are almost touching. His breath stinks of garlic. Sao Nakai. I'm moving into the next room. I thought I should introduce my... His face suddenly brightens in realization, and he stands back upright, thrusting his hand out in a smiling greeting, almost straight to my diaphragm.
Oh? Sup, dude? My name's Kenji.
Hi. Take Kenji's sweaty hand and shake it, still a little rattled by the sudden change of attitude and vehement welcome. Harry, is that you?
There were some suspicious-looking people going in and out of your room earlier.
It was probably my parents.
Your parents? You sure? Because they could have been some other people, too. Can't judge a book by its cover.
His out-of-place proverb is left hanging between us awkwardly as I try to think of some way to respond. I'd say the chances are high enough. He shudders, makes some exaggerated hand gestures.
You're a brave man, Hisao. Me? I don't think I could trust the chances. The only one I trust is myself.
Does that mean I shouldn't get to know you either? He thinks about this for a while.
A wise decision. Damn, you're smarter than you look. Probably. What do you look like? I hope not smart.
He squints his eyes and leans closer again, but I lean backwards to dodge it.
Never mind, it doesn't matter.
With that, he turns, fumbles around for a moment in search of the door handle, and shuts the door behind him. I slide the key into the lock of the door marked 119. Bleak beige walls, white linen, desk made of some type of light wood, ugly curtains. It's no one's room. Impersonal, like my hospital room was. My bags are sitting at the foot of my bed, looking a lot emptier than they did this morning. Closet sitting open, stocked with my clothes. Also, it seems that there are a number of school uniforms hanging there as well. Alright, now I'm curious, Quez. Hold on a second. Let me go all the way back through this. Oh, this is something entirely different. Sorry, you're referring to an actual school essay. I thought you meant a really big I thought you were using the term sarcastically. Whoops. Chalk that up to me being a dingus. See you in a bit, Arbok. I hope dinner's good. A note is pinned to the sleeve of one of the shirts. Hi, Hei-chan. We've unpacked your things and made your bed. They said if these don't fit, then you should go to the office tomorrow. If you have any problems, you can always call us. Love, Mom. And Dad. It was a long comment. Okay, now I'm curious. Was it the one about, oh yes, that one girl. Again, I didn't know what to add to that. At least I don't have to worry about unpacking. Kinda hoped I would have, and there would be something to do. It's still too early. I put the note down on the desktop and lie down on the bed, feeling drained. Lying there makes me want to read something, but I have nothing with me. I wonder if the hospital conditioned me for wanting to read whenever I have nothing to do. The restless urge just keeps growing until I have to stand up. Maybe it's stress or something. I was pretty nervous about it before coming, for the entire day today too. I still am, I think. Just above, this is a long comment. Hey everyone, Fnu's human. I give up. I give up. I concede, you win. Tell me what it was. I just reposted it. Just above, this is a long comment. Okay, is this in the Discord or something? Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Did you... Maybe AutoMod caught this. Hold on, things are about to look really weird for a second, guys. Sometimes the dashboard does weird things. Boink. What a mess. Nightbot, why? Drumroll please, everybody, as we try to make everything work again. That is a thing. I think it might be automatically set to catch things that are past a certain length in terms of characters. Yeah, AutoMod isn't telling me anything. Are you sure you posted this again in the chat? I don't see any prompts at all. Maybe just send it to me via a PM or something? I'm waving my white flag over here, or at least the blanket. Speaking of beige. Back to the story. Damn, I have to distract myself somehow. You and me both, buddy. So it won't be unnatural all the time. Tomorrow, I'll go borrow some books from the library. Yeah, I'll do that. But for now, the bottles of medications neatly arranged on my night table catch my eye. Pick one up and shake it just to hear the contents rattle inside. Then read the glued-on pharmacy label. Asaunicai. 2 tablets daily to stay alive. It doesn't really say that, but it could just as well. It's kinda twisted having your life depend on chemicals like this. I resent it a little, but what choice do I have? With a sigh, I begin my new daily ritual of taking the right number of pills from each bottle, being careful to check the correct dosages. I lie down again, feeling hollow and uncertain. After that, I keep staring at the blank, unfamiliar ceiling for a long time. It doesn't start looking any more familiar. Not even after darkness falls and long shadows draw across my room like fingers. The sheets feel slightly more comfortable, warm and nest-like against the chill that passes for room temperature here. Soon the lighter shade of darkness that is the ceiling looks like every ceiling does at night, and it becomes the only thing I recognize anymore. Night beckons me to sleep. I feel the coldness of unfamiliarity and fear creeping up my spine once again. I keep drifting further away from the world I knew. No, I don't mind tags, Quez. Trust me, I'd miss things otherwise. Sometimes there are like 200 extra posts in the general channel, and I'm like, ah! "15 seconds later, it's morning again." Ugh. Man, that was the best. A fraction of a minute naps are the best. I wake up in a strange room. Solid morning light shimmers against the light gray ceiling. I'd forgotten to draw the curtains closed last night. This is my room, isn't it? My room. This is the 3rd room this year that I'm supposed to call mine. Various things around here remind me that indeed it's me who's supposed to be the one living here. bags on the floor, my new school books on the desk, my numerous medications on the night table. I stare at the bottles for a moment, deliberating, until I open a bottle, shake out a pill, and pop out a tablet from a foil sheet. Down them with a chaser of water without thinking about the chemistry. My uniforms are in the closet. This is something I think about periodically. Because I was on stuff for a while. They had me on Ritalin for some time. I think back to all of the time I've spent, like, getting new kinds of medications and whatnot while I was in school, and kind of makes me glad for the fact that I didn't really get it back then. Like, I hadn't really switched on, as it were. Like, I was just confused and going along with things, and I had no sense of perspective. Nothing really affected me, or at least I don't think it did, because I barely remember anything about those years now. In some ways, I think that might have been kind of a blessing, because despite the fact that I went through the exact same thing this guy, well, maybe not the exact same thing, let's not give me too much credit here, somewhat of the same thing, I really don't, it didn't really affect me in any way. Small mercies, I guess. I slink out from under the sheets and stretch my back before dressing up. Putting on a new school uniform feels like dressing in someone else's clothes. Such realistic graphics. Sup, Swirl? Welcome to the chat, man. How are you doing tonight? Writing might have been a better choice for it. Me, Sonicu, Myth, and Arbok are the only ones who really post there. I mean, I would post there, except the writing I'm doing, I'm trying to make money off of in the future. I might run it past you guys in the future, especially Sonicu. I know it's something he might be interested in. The artificial smell, the specific subject, that is. Of course, most people would be interested. There are editors everywhere, especially if you're willing to pay them. The artificial smell of generic detergent invades my nose, but the feeling of fresh cloth against my back is a good one. A natural one. Feels like a school uniform, as it should. Not much different from what I used to wear before. That goes for other things, too. So far, this place seems more or less like a normal school. Except for the people. Think back to my talk with Kenji yesterday. Misha's constant laughter, and Shizune's sweeping sign language gestures. Well, I've only met 3 students so far. Maybe they aren't that normal, but I'm sure others are. Or perhaps people like them are what passes for normal around here? Yeah, what does pass for normal around here? What do people do? I didn't see a lot of kids hanging around after classes yesterday, so maybe there are clubs. If so, I wonder if I should join one. All through class, the question remains on my mind, so I decide to ask Shizune about it when we split into groups. After all, she did say if I had anything I wanted to know, I should ask her. Again, there's not much I can do with this one. She crosses her arms and shifts her gaze slowly to Misha, who looks more preoccupied with trying to grind the erase of her pencil down so that the top is perfect and evenly flat. Sorry, Sichan. Is there something you wanted from me? Oh, I see. That's a good question, Hee-chan. My first thought is that means she doesn't know, which is worrying. Maybe I'm being too negative. Well, anyway, Misha, please don't prove me right. Might be unable to play with you tomorrow? Oh no. I mean, we can do it the day of, too. And worst comes to worst, we'll do some troubleshooting right before the stream starts, which is not optimal. It's nice to do it ahead of time, but I will make this work. Trust me, man. I want to play multiplayer with you. I don't want to have to do it alone, because then we can have dialogue back and forth, and you can tell me some of the things I'm missing out on. I only have time in the weekend. Ah. I see. Well, that's unfortunate. Still, I appreciate the fact that you offered, man. Don't worry about it. We'll do our best.
Oh, that's right. Everyone is encouraged to join a club. A lot of people do so because there isn't really anything else to do. There are also school events, like the festival coming up in a few days. Almost every student in the school tends to help out with it, doing whatever. So, you actually transferred in a busy time. Maybe you can help out too.
Sure. What's the festival about? Misha freezes.
I don't know, Hitchan. The truth is, it's a local event, and I'm not from this area, so...
She starts signing desperately to Shizune, asking her to bail her out. Shizune adjusts her glasses at the end of an oddly grandiose flourish and starts signing hard and heavy.
Huh? Oh. Who cares?
Misha puffs out her chest as she shouts Shizune's words out at me with a disproportionate amount of pride. Too loud. I can see heads turning to look in our direction. Not so loud.
Human beings evolve with each new generation. The ideals and beliefs behind a festival will inevitably change with time. Now it's about delicious fried food and amusing little games that you play to win prizes.
The teacher clears his throat very loudly, batting his long wooden pointer against his other palm like a baton. He shoots a pointed gaze at us. Finally noticing where we are, Misha stifles a yelp and quickly quiets down. Shizune doesn't seem embarrassed at all, though, brushing it off without a care.
We're in the middle of class and should start working. That's right, Shi-chan. What? That's right! Hee-chan, are you asking because you're interested in joining a club?
What was that? Hold on, I caught that. Hold on, you. Could have been my eyes playing tricks on me, but I think I saw a suspicious glance exchanged between them. Oh no, I caught it too. Misha's tone has also changed, although it does that every other word anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Misha and Shizune look at each other again. I'm about to ask what they have in mind when something dark flutters in my peripheral vision, catching my attention. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the girl with the long, dark hair get up from her desk and slip silently towards the door. Later, Rise. Thanks for coming tonight, man. Doesn't seem like she was working in any group, and no one seems to notice her but me. I glance at the teacher, who's also looking at the dark-haired girl go. Why doesn't he say anything?
Hee-chan? Is something wrong?
Do I look as uneasy as I feel? Or was Misha just looking at me after the girl who left? No, nothing.
Okay. Well, like we were asking, you don't have any plans for lunch today, do you?
I thought I would go to the library and pick up some books. Not really.
Do you want to have lunch together then?
Sure.
Yay! Okay, Hitchot, perfect.
I hope I'm giving the proper amount of bubbly and upbeat and poof that this character has. This sense of bigness. The fact that she commands the room she's in. The rest of the class pauses uneventfully. The girl with the long hair never came back. Before I have the time to put any more thought into where she could have gone, teacher informs us that it's time to stop working. Shizune looks more than a little annoyed that we only just barely managed to finish all our work on time. I'm just glad we finished it at all. It's not a contest or anything.
Yes, it is, Hee-chan.
Impossible.
Really?
Really. I've noticed this before, but it's kind of funny how Misha is always moving her hands and signing not only everything she says, but what anyone else is saying at any given time. Obviously, it must be so Shizune can understand it. Her eyes dart back and forth between Misha's hands and me. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm talking to Misha, but that might be wrong. Maybe I should face Shizune? I'm used to looking in the direction of the person whose voice I'm hearing, but really, Shizune can't hear me, but it would be disrespectful to talk to her only through Misha. Then again, isn't that what she's doing? No, she's at least looking at me. This is all, it's very confusing. It'll take some time to get used to. It's not a contest, because contests are competitions over a prize. If there's no prize on the line, it's not really a contest. Shizune's eyes flash dangerously with a competitive glare. She stares at me, as if surprised that I'm challenging her. I think maybe this is a contest to her. I never noticed before how dark and blue her eyes are. It's truly an alluring gaze. Are you sure, Hee-chan? Very sure. Haha, you're wrong, Hee-chan. Because I don't want to be the slowest one in the class. Therefore, what's on the line is my confidence in my abilities, and the prize is the satisfaction of proving them. Shizune pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose in a very matter-of-fact way. Infinite loop detected. Aborting code. I'd argue more, but the bell rings. She quickly gets up and picks up her bag, looking at me expectantly. I'd almost forgotten that I was supposed to have lunch with them. Where do you want to eat? The cafeteria? That's so plain. Okay, let's go. Plain? Well, I guess in my old school I liked to eat outside near the back of the building. It was a good spot, but I didn't find it until near the end of my freshman year. Wonder if there's a similar place to eat here. Misha seems to imply as much. Shizune and Misha pull me towards the cafeteria, which is surprisingly not packed. Maybe some students favor eating in classroom or outdoors. I saw some of my classmates had boxed lunches. After we finished eating, Misha picks up where we left off earlier. You know, there was a place the one thing I miss about living in Arizona is there was this restaurant. I don't even remember its name now, but they actually made you, like, boxed lunches the traditional way, like you see. It had rice, it had vegetables, it had all kinds of cool stuff like tempura. It cost an arm and a leg, but you could eat that way. It was nice once in a while, like maybe every few weeks or so I'd go down there. A bit of a trip to the Tucson Mall, but it was worth it. So, Hee-chan, you wanted to know about the clubs and stuff, right? Right? Right, Shi-chan. Okay, I guess it makes sense to ask first. Exchanging little nods of confirmation, they turn to face me again. Misha straightens her posture as if she's about to deliver a speech. Hee-chan, do you have anything you're really interested in? I used to play soccer, but I'm not really into it. I don't follow the teams and players or anything like that. As of late, I usually just read a lot. There is a book club, right, Shi-chan? Right, but it seems like they have all the members they can possibly have right now. Sorry, Hee-chan, it's a really popular club. I need to make ramen real quick. Don't forget the egg. You know, maybe you could try making it the way I do, which is to drain out all of the water and then mix in the seasoning. Do like a dry rub type of thing. That way you don't lose any of the flavor that it gives you. You also get all of the salt too, so take from that what you will. Okay, but more to the point. Hee-chan, does this mean you don't have anything already in mind? Not really. Good, great, that's great, Hee-chan, really great. Why is it so great? No reason. Well, Hee-chan, other than clubs and the upcoming festival, there is one other thing. Student council! I see. I didn't know the school had a student council. That was a very melodramatic setup, though, just to tell me that. Don't have egg. I love the broth too much. Well, figured I'd throw that out there. I'm pretty sure the two of them know this, because Shizune looks a little embarrassed about it, and Misha is laughing. Shizune quickly retakes control of the discussion, in a manner of speaking. After all, it's still Misha who has to voice whatever she says.
Oh, right. Hey-chan, maybe you should join the student council. They could use more people. Yes, definitely. You should definitely join.
Why?
Well, for one, we can hang out every day, Hee-chan. Shi-chan and I are both in the student council. Actually, Shi-chan is the president.
I'm starting to get the suspicion that Shizune and Misha might not exactly be the most unbiased people to talk about this with. As if reading my mind, Shizune quickly adjusts her glasses and signs something to Misha.
Of course, we're not trying to get you to join just because we would obviously benefit from you joining the student council, and therefore have an incentive to try and get you to...
So you're admitting that?
No, we admit nothing. I mean, Hee-chan, of course it would be nice if you joined, and we'd appreciate it. But even without all that, joining the student council shows a healthy interest in the workings of one's school. Yup, it's true, Hee-chan. Besides, don't you want to spend time with us after school, Hee-chan?
I can't tell if she's being genuine or if this is just really good acting. Both of them seem to be trying hard to look their cutest, although they are already pretty cute to begin with. Well...
So it's settled then. Welcome to the student council, Hee-chan.
What? No! No!
Aw, see, Shi-chan? Of course it wouldn't go so easily. Yup, that's right, though. It would be boring if it went that smoothly. Oh well, Shi-chan owes me candy now.
You were betting on it? Hey, my life is not a game here. Shizune seems very intrigued by this when Misha signs it to her. The aggressive glint returns to her eyes.
That's interesting, Hee-chan. Let's play a game.
That's not what I said.
How about rich man, poor man, Hee-chan? If you lose, you have to join the student council.
No, absolutely not.
Well, why not?
Well, because you two both have the same incentive, and therefore the same goal, which is to get me to join the student council, right?
Yup.
Yeah, that isn't my goal. But what this means is that both of you can team up, and I'll be at a clear disadvantage. So, I will have to decline.
Hee-chan, I'm very offended. Are you saying that you don't trust us and that we pull something so... disingenuous? That makes me sad.
Sorry? It's hard to tell where Shizune's influence ends and Misha's thoughts begin.
In order to atone for hurting a young girl's feelings, you should definitely join the student council.
No!
Having a game of paper football instead of rich man, poor man.
Paper football?
Yeah, it's a game they play in America. You make a paper triangle, and then you try to shoot it past goalposts that the other player makes with their fingers. Isn't it cool? It's the ultimate form of competition between two people, Hee-chan.
I thought that was paper samurais, or sumos, or what is it again? Or, again, that's something that's a little Americanized. You take both fists, you pound them on the table to move your sumo towards the other guys and knock it over. That was a WarioWare minigame. The more you know, you learn about culture from some very surprising places.
And it's also played by elementary and middle school children. Shi-chan? That means it's a game that really separates the boys from the men.
Like the boys from the slightly older boys. Anyway, I'm not gonna play that either. Just the fact that you know about it means you're probably surprisingly good at it.
Yeah, that's true. How did you know, Hee-chan?
Shizune frowns at Misha, telling me that she probably wasn't supposed to admit that so readily. I wouldn't say that I'm happy with their attempts to get me into the student council, but I'm a little curious about what the student council does here. I've never been on one before, or even known anybody who was a member, so it interests me. I also kind of like Shizune and Misha, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Okay, Hee-chan, how about Risk, the game of world domination?
I don't know what that is.
It's really fun, Hee-chan. You fight for control of the world, with armies and everything.
Sounds like Shizune would be good at it.
If you want to play, we can after school. Really, Shi-chan? We can play just for fun, Hee-chan. Shi-chan hasn't played in a long time, so if you want to, there are no strings attached.
Well, okay.
Okay, perfect. We'll see you after school in the student council room then, Hee-chan.
Wait, why there?
Because that's where we keep the game.
I grimace to tell them how much I do not like this, but it's more for show than anything. So in the end I agree, but only after getting Shizune to acknowledge that I don't mean anything concrete just by accepting to take a look around and play a game with her. Lunch ends and we go back to class. There she was again. She's always right there. I love how they do that. They didn't even acknowledge her oh, yes, they do. Never mind. Whoop. Shows how much attention I'm paying. During afternoon classes, the long-haired girl comes back, sits down in her seat without a word. Again, no one seems to notice. Or if they do, no one says anything. I want to ask Misha about it, but I don't want to be nosy. After school, Shizune and Misha quickly find me by the first floor lobby and latch onto me, covering each flank in case I might try to escape. I feel a little offended, but I'd been considering it. Nevertheless, I'm a bit disturbed that enough people have made a break for it in the past that they're on their guard. It's with the escort. This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. In fact, it makes me feel like a dangerous prisoner being transported to a cell.
What's wrong, Hee-chan? That's right. We're just going to play a game of Risk, remember?
I don't know, Misha. This all seems a little sinister to me. And I start thinking that when we sit down to play the game. When we sit down to play the game, they'll tie me down and torture me until I agree to join the student council. Well, that's highly unlikely, but still, for some reason it just seems like it would be so plausible. Getting to the student council room is as simple as turning 2 corners from where we started. What? That's it? This makes you guys being on top of me seem a little silly.
That's not true, Hee-chan. Shi-chan says that when their life is threatened, people have shown the capability to pull off superhuman bursts of speed.
Life is threatened? Her expression unchanging, Misha signs something amusedly to Shizune, who makes a baffling face and puts her hands behind her back, looking pleased with herself. Misha feigns deafness and hums cheerily. Stop that. I know you heard me. You have no excuse, unlike Shizune. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. Sorry. I freaking love the dialogue in this game so much. Shizune opens the door to the student council room. It's a very plain, sparsely decorated room, although it is quite large, maybe even a little larger than a classroom. There's a big table in the center surrounded by chairs, and a smaller desk prominently placed in the back that I assume is Shizune's. There are a few regular desks and chairs stacked to one side as well. Extras, perhaps? Aside from the tables and chairs, the room doesn't have much else to offer. Just a couple of filing cabinets and bookshelves stacked with old school records and documents. Not much else. In fact, nothing else. This is a pretty bleak room. I could at least put a potted plant in here or something. But the most noticeable thing that this room doesn't have is other people. Are we early?
No.
What do you mean, no? Does it mean nobody else is coming today?
Yeah, that's right.
Before I manage to ask why that's the case, Shizune claps her hands together very energetically.
Hee-chan, let's play Risk. Come on, you promised, didn't you? You have to. Okay. Do you want to know the rules? We can explain to you while we set everything up.
While Misha is talking, Shizune takes out what looks like a board game from behind one of the filing cabinets and throws it on the table. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. After Misha spends a little too long for her liking running through the basics with a somewhat vague and confusing tutorial, Shizune cuts in and declares the game has started with a decisive motion, slicing her arm through the air. Shizune's aggressiveness is rubbing off onto me. I start feeling more competitive than I intended to be when I agreed to this. Halfway into the game, while I try to ponder how to defend against Shizune's assault from two fronts, she breaks my concentration by drumming her fingers on the table to get my attention.
Hee-chan, Shi-chan wants you to know that you're taking too long to make a move. Shi-chan also says that she will let you keep Australia if you agree to join the student council.
I thought this was a game with no strings attached. Just the fact that she would dangle that over my head as an offer means that she knows I care about the outcome of this game. And anyway, no.
Shi-chan admires your fighting spirit and would be a benevolent dictator who would spare your people if you agree to join the student council.
You're so competitive, Shizune. She seems to take this as a compliment. I would expect the student council president to be a little more magnanimous.
Magnanimous?
She doesn't seem to know what the word means or how it's signed, so she pulls out a piece of paper and writes it for Shizune, who returns signs it back to Misha. Misha presses her index fingers against her temples, as if trying to physically imprint the word into her memory. Suddenly, Shizune bursts into a flurry of gestures. Misha looks daunted by the pace of her heated signing.
Wait, please slow down, Shi-chan. Hee-chan, Shi-chan says you're going to lose.
Tell her I will crush her world empire with my rebellion.
Okay.
Those eyes of hers shine with childlike mischief. There it is again. How is the character who... I think this is the great irony about this. Like, how is the character who doesn't even speak have the most expression out of anybody here?
She says you have no chance if you keep playing like this. No, you won't.
She has a point. Attack aggressively. It's a trap. It's smarter to play defensively here. See, I know what the correct decision is, but I kind of want to know what you guys think. Like, what she's been doing this entire game, she's been... the clue I took leading up to this is that she was trying to bait me. She was trying to deliberately cause me to make a rash decision, to do something that I wasn't supposed to do. Like, she's trying to break my concentration, she's trying to change the subject, she's trying to force me along. Which is smart, if not entirely fair. It's sort of like that, it's sort of like trash talking at Evo or something. That whole argument of if you were good enough to win, if you were good enough, you could win without doing that kind of thing. I don't see anybody actually saying anything in the chat here, so should I just go with my original decision, you think? It's a trap, smarter to play defensively here. Again, I wanted to go down a particular route, but I'm also really curious what the other ones have in store. And why does this one have a check next to it, I wonder? There are other decisions that have had checks on them. It's one per dialogue. Be aggressive, says Emi Ibarazaki. Welcome to the chat. How are you doing tonight? Aggressive. Well, that's the only vote I've gotten so far, so let's go with that. Originally, I chose to play defensively, but you guys dictated. The audience has spoken. She is either really mocking me or trying to trick me. have nothing else to lose, though, so I might as well try something different. Maybe if I spread out my forces and try to control more territories, I can recoup the advantage. Shizune seems to focus on conquering whole nations, so maybe I can sacrifice my hold on continents to gain more small countries. It's worth a shot. A few turns later, I end up losing the game anyway. Shizune adjusts her glasses victoriously and allows herself to tentatively pump a fist in the air in celebration.
I win! I win! Yay!
There's no need to translate that, it was pretty clear.
Don't look so sad, Hee-chan. You were really giving it your best. That's what I thought. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough, though. If anyone knows that, it's me. You did very well for someone who just learned how to play today. Hee-chan, you attacked Iceland and North America at the same time. That's a very daring move. Hee-chan is impressed. The mark of a great people is that they are daring, and that they can follow through. You're already halfway there. Isn't that great, Hee-chan? That isn't enough, though. Just potential isn't enough. There's no point to potential if you don't take the first step, and there's no point to that if you don't keep going. I want to see more. You're right, Hee-chan, but that's so demanding.
Shizune leans forward, suddenly looking a lot less playful and more like the serious person I expected her to be from the start.
Hee-chan, would you like to join the student council?
She really doesn't waste any time, does she? But it's only my second day of school, so I'm hesitant about committing to something so early. I haven't even taken a look at any other clubs yet. But spending time with Shizune and Misha doesn't seem like something I would hate. I still need more time to think about it before I decide for sure. Maybe. I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, Hee-chan, but I hope you're not just saying that so we don't feel bad.
No, really.
Really? Hee-chan, if you're going to say that, you're saying that it is definitely the truth, and there can't be any mistaking it.
I know. I guess I should have my revenge for losing at the very least. Shizune smiles at that in a mischievous way that feels like twisting the knife in the wound of my loss. Take a glance at the clock on the wall, and realize I've spent far longer playing Risk than I expected. Sorry, I think I have to go. I wanted to go to the library. It's not closed yet, is it? Shizune scratches her head and gestures at Misha. How hard can it be determined whether the library is open? There's a clock right there on the wall.
It should be, unless the librarian is absent. I think you're right, Hee-chan. We think the library is open. It's on the second floor. Can't miss it. Do you want us to show you where it is?
No, thanks. It's okay. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
One flight of stairs up, and I run into problems. Second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain, like only hallways can be. Problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. Classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. I just want to point out, the reason I was hesitant on that decision is because I thought it meant something. Like I would join student council if I went down that route. I have a specific idea of how I want to play the game here, like which person I want to end up with, but we'll get to that a little later, if we get to it tonight. I just realized we haven't even met all of the characters yet, and we're like almost 2 hours into this game. Could burn away an entire day playing Katawa Shoujo. My goodness. But then there's a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them? Or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the ladder and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though. Just barely ajar so that I can see it's open. Nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open. While this one is not quite that, it's good enough. The the very least, it means someone is inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. Only it gives you a few more scenes or different lines with that or that character, decisions you take early. Like this decision gives you a plus flag for Shizune, so you might get more Shizune scenes rather than... Okay. Alright, I understand now. I figured that's what it did, like, because she seemed disappointed in me when I played defensively last time. Sorry, that's me not having enough faith in this game. I probably know what the really big turning point is, but that's the only hint I want for now, okay? We'll figure out the rest I'll figure out the rest. It seems like you already know how everything works. I've only played through, I think, 2/3 of one of the routes so far, so... Door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep. It was much easier to open than I'd anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head even further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek "hello" on my lips is quickly snatched away. This is not what I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation steals my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway staring at the beautiful girl. Evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me.
Hello there. May I help you?
Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi. Sorry for intruding, I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand.
Care to take a seat?
Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. Slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling. That and the slight cloudiness to her eyes means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office.
I take it you're a new student to Yamaku?
Yeah. I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting. One which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action.
I'm Lily Sato. Pleased to meet you.
Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup.
Would you care for a drink?
Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. Seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, She seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. I've seen something like this before. There's a movie out there called Truth. I definitely recommend watching it, but the main character in that movie is blind. And when somebody asks him, how can you tell how much water is in the cup? He answers, the sound. You make do. You make do. And it's so cool to find the ways people work around it. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me. Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offerer preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring water into the teacup as she nods. Small metallic tapping coming from the teacup, indicating it being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Another thing I like about this game, remember how I had talked about really early defining this guy as a person? Like, establishing him as a character in his own right, he's not just an audience surrogate figure. Notice how they actually include him in the shot. You can see him, you can see about half of his body, most of his body. You can see his face, too, his eyes, his mouth, everything. This is really important. This is so freaking important to me. As an artist, I can't help but love this. The deliberacy of it all. Nonetheless, it smells quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Sato. It tastes really nice. She smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So, which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct. I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, and is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem in the least bit put off by it. My. There's no need to change your speech. That was a voice crack. There's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure. Sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. Category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often, during lunch times. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Welcome back, Quez. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune's blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunchtimes, the baseball club, and the book club in a room near the library. Sometimes I hate how he's such an idiot / insensitive, regardless of what you decide. Give him time. The route I went down, it took him a while. Again, we're all human here. I think they did a good job of representing him. Like, it's not something you just adjust to. Like, they gave him a couple months head start in the hospital to get used to this whole situation, and even now, this is a whole new world to this guy. I'm willing to give him a little bit of leeway. Which route have you tried? God, I wish I could remember her name. I'll give you a hint. I joined the art club. At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing to a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it is encouraged. Rin! That was her name, Rin. Yes, that one. Good. That's a relief. I've really let my guard down around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. I'm not wanting my tea to get cold. Finally start drinking it, as Lily does the same. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. Huh. Time's gone quickly. Sorry? Oh, right. She's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. Seems to come to us as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of the time. Sorry, Hisao. I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case. True. It's open until 6:30 during weekdays. Quick glance at my watch confirms I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you to where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Unless my navigational skills fail me. What did you miss, Quez? If I recall correctly, we got invited to the student council room to play Risk. We lost. But at least she appreciates the way we played, so we earned points in Shizune's book. You can say thank you to Emmy in the chat. I'll get used to the name if you stick around, trust me. You can thank Emmy in the chat for that. One who told me to play a particular way and assured me that let me figure out that these early decisions don't mean too much. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing. That's all right. I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. She stands up to follow me. She takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together we leave the peaceful room, and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers, we walk through the hallway. Doesn't take long for us to arrive at the door of the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor, rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with the distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. I love that smell of paper, and there's a name for that, too. There's a specific word for it. What is it? I saw this list. There's a big list that was going around Twitter for a while of all the different words for emotions that most people can't describe. One of them is the wistfulness of a bookstore. That feeling you get when you come in and you feel that old world seep into your nostrils. You can feel it. There's a specific term for that. I can't remember what it is. There don't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in the school grounds or the dorms. Forgot to mention this. I love games like this. They give me a second to go off on tangents, and it's still there waiting for me. The reason I love that smell is because my grandfather's old office. Big place. Way bigger than this cramped little room. Hope to own something like it one day. Big old world map on the back, and all my papers laid out on these long, long tables in the room. Yuko, are you here? She says it to thin air, since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail. Oh. The Origin, apparently the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Hi Lily, how can I help you? Her voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual. She's rubbing the back of her head. Good afternoon. What happened just now? I heard a strange sound. It's nothing. I just hit my head. See, I dropped an eraser onto my desk while I was looking for... And while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped, and when I was looking for both of them, you came and surprised me. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I couldn't know. It's okay. Sorry for making you worry. This is nothing. I've had worse happen to me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. A little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit a library perfectly. Ah, Lily, did you get my message? Message? Oh, the 2 imported books that arrived. Right, they finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but... Mr. Celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure, she notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does. Oh no! I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry. The way she can so quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. He's with me. Yuko, this is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. Pleased to meet you. Hisao. Right, Hisao. Pleased to meet you too, Hisao. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror.
Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility.
How it's any responsibility at all, I don't get, but her objection is so sincere, I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are.
But... So, there are a lot of books in Braille here?
I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. Seems to work at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least look slightly less tense.
Well, I think about a third or a fourth of Yamaku's library is either in Braille or audio.
Makes sense, given all the blind students that'd be... Makes sense, given all the blind students that'd be here. I'm trying not to make him sound condescending with that. Makes sense, given all the blind students that'd be here. I guess that's the best I can do here. If it's only that, how come the library's so big in the first place?
Well, we get a lot of new books regularly because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why.
I spend more on new books than on my salary, and then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome and they waste so much. I wish I could quit this job.
We are connected.
Hey, we're connected to Randomly. Thanks for that, man. Should I turn off notifications? It kind of breaks the mood, but I want to know what you guys think. Can't talk, eating tacos, but I hope you're doing well today, sir. Oh, I'm doing very well, actually. My mood always picks up when I start streaming, and I'm not too jealous of you. I had, well, the closest I could get to Long John Silver's here. Fish, chips, and hush puppies. Can't complain, you know, besides the fact that the sodium's gonna kill me later. Very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the aisles then, if you don't mind. It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me.
Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko, I would have those books if it's all right with you.
My first impression was right. The library's surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I study the spines of the books in random order, occasionally sliding one out to read the blurb, taking it with me if it looks good. In a few moments, I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. I guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large print and braille books scattered throughout, but it is what it is. A library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lillian snuck with us in here, unless I was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease, just like before. I reach at the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks, set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further, though, I discover a nice quiet corner at the back. While the rest of the library has the odd student sitting at a desk, either reading or stealthily sleeping, the back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize sitting on one of several beanbags. It's the dark-haired girl from my class, the one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes her look like she's really into it. From the way she was acting today, I had her pegged as more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whys in my head. Intrigue floats slowly but surely towards the surface. Before I know it, I'm walking towards the mysterious long-haired girl. Guess there's no harm in introducing myself as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate, after all. Walking over to another beanbag, I take a seat and lay my books beside it. The girl starts, looking scaredly up at me from underneath her fringe. This is the first time I've seen her this close. Underneath her long, dense bangs, I can see that part of her face, at least a third, if not a half, is pretty badly scarred. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scars, subconsciously peeking past her hair until they meet her own eyes. For a second, I'm shocked, and divert my eyes to the book in her hands before I realize that looking away probably only makes it worse. It takes too many seconds to collect myself and remember what I walked up to her for. Hi, I'm new here. Hisao Nakai, we're in the same class. I think that's the right thing to do here. Just introduce myself casually, act normal. Right? I think I've gotten dialogue about her later. Maybe that's the extra thing I get related to her. It's up to you guys again. That made sense to me the first time I played this game, is to introduce myself. Maybe that's what the check mark is. Maybe it remembers the fact that I chose that before. It's like, this is how to go down the same route you went down the first time. Being apologetic seems to be the bad way to go about this. He's right, this is taking too many seconds. Yeah, it does. Alright. Yeah, just act casual. Act like there's absolutely... Take a page out of everyone else's books. Just act normal. It's a typical conversation. Don't treat her any differently than anybody else. That makes sense to me. Hi, I'm new here. Hisao Nakai. We're in the same class. I just transferred here the other day. Maybe you don't remember? I did a self-introduction, too. The girl still doesn't say a word, but simply stares at me, wide-eyed. I'm still getting used to the place, so I'm trying to meet as many people as I can. So, what's your name?
Hanako.
Her speech is stuttering and so quiet that it's barely audible, even in the still library. Somehow I think that my delinquent impression of her was wrong. Hanako, eh? So what are you reading? She gently tips the book backwards so that I can read the title, at the same time hiding her face behind it. She must have noticed me staring before. Life of Pi? I've never heard of it before. What's it about?
A boy and a tiger on a boat.
I can see this taking some time. Sounds interesting. Is it any good? She nods from behind the book, but stays silent. She looks kind of tense. A bit like Yuko earlier, but in a different way. More like petrified with terror, I'd say. So the mysterious delinquent girl turned out to be anything but. And she's quivering in a way that makes it look like she is mortally afraid of me. The only way out of this, as far as I can tell, is to try to get a normal conversation going. Is it a library book? I'm looking for new ones to read, but there's just so many.
No, it's mine.
Oh. So, do you come here often? A huge, huge blush spreads on Hanako's face, and her eyes widen far larger than I thought it was possible for eyes to do. Uh-oh. Did she interpret my lame attempt at small talk as a feeble attempt to pick her up? I mean, I didn't mean it like that.
I've gotta go do something!
Without warning, Hanako takes off and runs towards the counter. Her hair-like takeoff catches me so off guard that I don't manage to go after her until she has a good head start. By the time I reach the counter, she's nowhere to be seen. Lily and Yuko are happily chatting away. Knowing that I won't be able to catch Hanako myself, I approach the girls. Hey, did you notice a girl run past here?
Maybe. What does she look like?
Long, dark hair, kinda shy. She had, well, some scars on her face.
You wouldn't be talking about Hanako, would you?
Yeah, that's her. I saw her reading and tried to talk to her, but I think I scared her off or something.
Oh dear. Yuko, would you excuse me? I'd better try and find her. Sure, I'll just hold on to these until you come back.
What's going on?
I'm sorry, but I'll have to explain it to you some other time.
Right. I'll see you later then. Lily hastily grabs her cane and hurries out of the library, leaving me alone with Yuko. I don't think I'll ever get the hang of this place. Did I do something wrong?
What did you do?
Nothing! I just talked to her and tried to get to know her. Didn't even manage to get started. Yuko sighs and looks awfully bothered, even more so than she did before.
I guess you weren't wrong so much as tactless.
Tactless?
That girl's a bit of a special case. It's like she never really talks to anyone.
Isn't that a bit strange?
I wonder. It's just how she is, I think.
Yuko doesn't sound all that convincing. Then again, this is just the norm around here. Everyone has their own problems, or else they wouldn't be here. Perhaps I was being a little tactless after all. But how should I deal with these people? Forcing myself to act overly casually only makes me feel phony. Like I was supposed to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Yuko fidgets, looking like she wants to say something to that, but resists it.
I think it's an elephant only if you feel that way.
I guess she doesn't have a good sense of self-restraint. Makes me smile, and she blushes heavily.
What? Did that sound stupid?
No, it sounded really wise. I guess you're right. It's more about me than anyone else. Neither of us have anything to add, so Yuko fills the silence by shuffling some papers around. People who have papers on their desks really like doing that. Call back to the other character.
Did you find any books? I should be closing soon. I mean, this library should be closing, but I have to do it. I hope that's not too inconvenient for you. Oh, yeah, I want some books, but I left them over there because
I'll just go get them. I fetched my stack of books from beside the beanbags where Hanako and I were sitting and returned to the counter.
Wow, you read a lot, don't you?
I surprised myself with that too, honestly. At least when I really think about it. A lot of free time earlier this year, so I just kind of started reading books to fill that time. Couldn't do much else.
I see.
But she doesn't say anything else and just checks out my books for me. I really badly right now, I am physically holding myself back from making a Phineas and Ferb reference. I guess this is what they call tact. Holding the library books with one arm, I trawl my pocket for the key to the door. A sudden sound from behind startles me, making me nearly drop the books I'm carrying, or the key that I almost managed to get into the lock.
Who is it?
I turn around to see who's talking to me. It's Kenji. He seems to be in a friendly mood, although the light glinting off his glasses in the dark gives him a sinister look. It's just me. This makes him pause and lick his lips nervously.
Who is me? I don't know anyone called me. Are you some new guy again?
His voice is suddenly strained and quick. Yes, but we've met before, yesterday.
I don't think so. I once met someone who I only met yesterday. When was that? Oh, what day is it today?
I try to ignore him. Is he joking or what?
Prove that we've met before.
You live across the hall. You're Kenji. Kenji jumps back, his eyes filled with an uncomprehending fear.
How do you know my name? Damn, this can only mean one of two things. Either we have met, you're telling the truth, and I just can't remember it, or you're a spy.
He pauses.
A psychic spy.
His eyes dart around me, trying to peek into my room, although it's hard to believe he can see anything through those thick glasses. His mood swung from friendly to manic in less than a minute. I'm not psychic.
How do I know that? I'm not a mind reader.
Kenji points a finger in my face damningly.
Unlike you.
Stop that, man. We met yesterday. What's wrong with you? I live in this room.
Lies! If you think you can pass as Hisao because I'm legally blind, you are sorely mistaken. You don't even look like him. I mean, the resemblance is real slim, maybe at a distance, but who do you think you're kidding?
I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him. Exasperated, I rub my eyes and let out a heavy sigh.
Stay there.
Kenji comes closer, one careful step at a time. I stay still, lest he assault me physically, although I doubt he could do much damage even if he did.
Oh, wait, I see it now.
Damn, it really is you. Sighing again, and then once again for good measure, I step backwards just in case.
What's up, man? You don't look too good, I think. Something wrong?
I don't know, just had something stupid happen to me. A few stupid things, actually, even if you discount this one. Can't get a proper touch on other people here. I have no idea if it's because of me or because of them. I don't know why I'm telling this to Kenji. It's not like we've had any contact either.
That's rough, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry about calling you a psychic spy and all, but you can never be too careful. It's the hard reality we live in.
Slowly starting to think that Kenji isn't necessarily living in the same reality as the rest of us.
You see? This is how it is, this world. There is no justice, you see? Even when I lose, I win, because I don't lose the lesson.
What does that even mean?
It doesn't matter.
He dismisses it flatly with a wave of his hand.
So what happened? Why the long face? Do you have a long face?
It's nothing. I just scared some girl off accidentally. Literally, too. She actually ran away from me. It was my fault, really, I think. I'm not really used to all this yet.
A girl? A cute one?
Cute? That's a hard question. She had a nice body and really beautiful hair, but the face, I guess it could go either way. Of course I'm gonna be nice here. Even if it's to a random stranger, I'm gonna say she looked nice. That's rule one about being in a relationship. You look good no matter what you're in. Memorize that phrase, guys. It will serve you well in the years to come. Yeah, cute, I guess.
I knew it! There are a lot of cute girls here. Strangely disproportionate amount. I believe that this is one of the dark secrets of this school. I tried to warn you, man, but did you listen?
I don't remember any such warning. Dark secrets?
Yes, dark secrets. Extremely dark. Like a black hole.
Cute might be too abrasive for a stranger. This is also fair. And then again, all of us make visual distinctions on everything we see, you know? All you've got is a first impression. I know, like, let's go with what we actually know about this girl. She reads books, she leaves the class every now and then. Well, we saw her leave the one time. We don't know if this is a frequent occurrence yet. Meanwhile, this bit here. Don't tell random strangers that a girl you met looked like a dog turd. Noted. It's good. It's solid life advice, man. It'll get you far.
Have you noticed that the number of girls in this school is slightly but significantly higher than the number of boys? It's like 60-40.
That's how actual population works, dude. I learned that when I was like 8. One of those random factoids I committed to memory because I thought it was fascinating. Turns his head to the left, stares off into the distance. Nothing.
Why is it like this? I mean, to the untrained eye, it doesn't appear to be that bad, but that is a full 20%. One would think that a school with such a huge pool of women would be a man's dream. But no. What I am about to tell you could blow your mind. Are you ready?
I don't know where this is going, but I think I won't be missing much by cutting out now. No, I am not ready. I only get as far as turning the doorknob before Kenji starts talking again, showing that he doesn't really care if my mind is blown or not.
I believe that this school is a battleground, the site of a feminist infiltration. This disparity in the number of men to women is a clear sign of how far they have come. In case this Cold War turns hot, they will have superiority in numbers. Just another skirmish in the eternal war against the forces of the feminists.
Knocked down in things you do not want anybody on the internet to take out of context. Things you've said that you don't want taken out of context.
They're everywhere. In Japan, women outnumber men. It's not a 60-40 split, but it's only a matter of time, man. Even in America, women are the majority by a hair. They're building up their numbers. In the past, the buildup of a military has always been the clearest sign of imminent war. Japan is just the first step. Our economy is badass, and the country itself is small and isolated, yet a huge part of the Pacific in terms of political value. The perfect target. They are so cunning, as expected of women. Soon the day will come when...
Kenji's voice trails off ominously.
Soon the day will come when... That is why you can't trust them. They will string you along and then kill you, just as they killed me. You will end up just like me.
Oh, hell no. I can't stop myself from blurting it out.
Hey, what the hell does that mean?
You said it, not me. It's the best I can think of.
So? You're not supposed to say something like that. Damn, so rude. Where was I? Oh yeah, vast feminist conspiracy.
Stop it. Stop. I lost you way, way back there somewhere. Somewhere around feminist infiltration.
Too hard to follow? That's cool. I have some graphs and stuff in my room. And puppets. You like puppets?
No puppets.
You don't like puppets. Okay. Graphs are still cool though, right?
Look at this graph. He speaks energetically, responding almost before I'm done talking, moving his hands in an animated way as he continues to rant on. This is too strange. I had him pegged as relatively normal, but it's clear that I was wrong.
Something on your mind, dude?
I was just thinking about what it's like to be the last sane man in an insane world. Kenji frowns, looking deeply upset.
You mean that's you? That can't be, because I'm the last sane man in an insane world. That is my dream. You can't just steal a man's dream.
Everyone's the hero of their own story, aren't they? I laughed at your joke before you told it. It's almost like you've been here a while, Quest. You know me. We're on the same wavelength now. I've got you, dude. You're a subscriber and everything. You're hooked. You have a financial incentive to keep showing up to these streams. You've fallen prey to business, man. I'm sorry to break it to you.
What the hell? There can't be two last sane men. It would invalidate the whole last part. And that part's kind of important. There can only be one. Like in that foreign movie where there could be only one. And in the end, there is only one dude left because that was the point.
I have never seen anyone talk so heatedly and so defensively about absolutely nothing before. Welcome to Tumblr.
Anyway, if you wait here, I can get my graphs. I also have a list of the other dark and complex conspiracies that this school holds. As tangled as... Quick, finish my analogy for me. Be a pal.
I'm going to bed now. It's extremely late.
That doesn't sound like an analogy. That doesn't sound like an analogy, but whatever. I like you. You seem like a cool dude. Most people don't understand what I'm talking about when I try to explain the vast feminist conspiracy to them. Denial's a terrible thing. Later.
Clasps me on the back and then vanishes into his room so quickly and quietly it's like he didn't even open the door, but instead walked right through it like a ghost. I don't know if I can fully digest what just happened, so I give up and just go to my room, kicking off my shoes before falling face first into the bed. It takes me some time to relax and get up so I can get started on homework. Yeah, I guess that's what you can still call it in this situation. It's because the sheets are cool and comforting against my cheeks. It feels good just lying there with my eyes closed. School is like some kind of bizarre and surreal island. It's isolated on top of a mountain, and each person is stranger than the last. I just can't seem to fit in. What irony. One would think that fitting in a place that's made for people who are unfit for anywhere else would be easy. Maybe I'm trying too hard. Although I say that, it doesn't help take the edge off. The words are left echoing off my empty walls. I guess it's not as bad as I expected, though. This place really is more a school and less a hospital pretending it's a school than I thought it would be. Nothing else, the scenery is beautiful. I open one eye, seeing the school books and bottles of pills arranged side by side on my desktop. Maybe this place is too much like a normal school after all. Another 15-second nap. And it's morning again. Aren't video games grand, everybody? I feel very tired this morning. Probably because yesterday itself was a very tiring day. Boy, do I know that feeling! I reiterate what I said in Patty's chat the other night. What's sleep? On top of that, I woke up far earlier than necessary. After saying hi to Shizune and Misha, I started doing the work as instructed from the board. It already looks like today is going to be heavy. I don't have a problem with that now, though. Shizune and Misha might jump on me trying to get an answer about whether or not I've decided to join the student council, even if it's just one day. I wouldn't put it past them to try. I don't have an answer for them if they do. So this situation is convenient for me. About 10 minutes into class, Hanako walks in and takes a seat. But no one looks at her. Teacher doesn't even comment on her lateness. He does, however, stop us to say that we're going to break into groups again. Turn my head and see that Shizune and Misha are looking at me. Shizune gives me a smile that is equal parts cute and menacing. This is a smile that says, "We have you now. There's no escape."
Hee-chan, it looks like we're together again. Yay, yay!
Misha leans sideways while Shizune pushes her desk closer to mine. There really is no escape now, unless I want to jump through the window. Jumping out the window isn't the best option, sadly.
What's wrong, Hee-chan? Oh, Hee-chan. Have you been thinking about what you said yesterday? You said that you would think about joining student council, didn't you?
Called it.
It's okay, Hee-chan. We were talking about it after you left. It would be rude to expect you to already have an answer for us this early, right? Right?
I'm so happy you two are able to have a laugh at my expense. Even more pleased to know that you both know how crazy the two of you can be. Coffee will fix all of your morning tiredness. It will only cost you, in demon voice, your soul. I mean, it will only cost you... It's your cost of a cup of coffee at your nearest coffee shop. That one you're on your own for, because I don't drink the stuff. I'll drown myself in Mountain Dew, but I won't touch coffee. I don't know, it just never appealed to me. Unless you mix it with like tea, you gotta mix it with a lot of other things for me. That's over. Shizune snaps back into serious mode, smacks today's assignment with the back of her hand in an overly dramatic and important way. When I actually look at this stuff, it's mostly just reading. In fact, there are only 2 problems. I love assignments like that. I almost want to say something about her rush to get started seems a bit much, considering the small amount of work. In fact, Shizune probably knows how little there is and simply doesn't care. Yeah, it seems like the workload doesn't matter to her as much as the fact that there is work. The actual amount is unimportant. She approaches everything with the same level of ambition. While I'm reading, I let my eyes wander around the room, catch Hanako trying her hand at solving the problems. Looks like she's working alone. Can't remember seeing her work with other people before. Thinking back to how shy she is, it's understandable. Hey, that girl over there.
Huh? Who, Hee-chan?
Her, Hanako, over there. Does she always work alone?
I think so, Hee-chan. Do you feel sorry for her because she's alone?
I was just thinking that maybe she could work with us or something.
No, I don't think that would be a good idea, Hee-chan.
Why not?
C-chan wouldn't get along with her.
Why? Misha shuffles around the question, letting out a laugh that sounds very strange. It's nervous, but still has that lilting up and down quality present in everything she says.
Just because, Hee-chan.
But now Shizune has noticed our conversation. It makes me realize again how Misha has been signing everything she's been saying this whole time.
What, Hee-chan? The friend of my enemy is my enemy? That sounds so harsh. I'm not gonna say that.
You said it anyway.
I know, Hee-chan. It's fine if you overhear.
I wonder if this is Misha's way of keeping things fair, since without her, I wouldn't be able to understand a thing Shizune is saying, and vice versa. Is that also why she signs all the time? So there's never a conversation Shizune will be left out of?
Anyway, we should start on the problems now, Hee-chan.
We finished with time to spare. I said to ask if there are any alternatives to the cafeteria, as frankly, the food so far has been subpar. This sends Shizune and Misha arguing among themselves about their favorite restaurants. All of them are downtown, so I don't think we have time to go all the way there. What about the bill? Are they arguing just for the fun of it? Maybe. They seem so distracted by it that they don't even notice the start of the actual lunch break. Look over my shoulder towards the back of the classroom. She seems to be studying her notes from the previous class. It's an odd sight. Everyone... Oh, somebody sent me a message. What do they really want me to know about? Hang on, no, this was apparently worth interrupting the stream for. Hello, we're making it easier for you to receive your Google Play emails at the same email address of your choice. And I've lost interest. Where were we in the story? Socializing, gossiping, rearranging desks. The only ones with actual boxed lunches mix in and chattering like everyone else. Only interrupted by short bouts of eating. But when I watch Hanako, it feels that I'm the only one who can see her. Almost as if she was invisible. Sort of hiding in plain sight. Is she being bullied? Is she isolating herself from the rest of the class on her own accord? I see her look over her shoulder towards the classroom's rear door. Come to think of it, she hasn't turned a page since I started watching her. I guess she's waiting for someone. What to do? I'm not sure what the right choice here is. Again, it's the idea of tactless here. Like, maybe talking to her isn't the best idea? This is a non-decision. This is off the table right here, because I know they're not going to come up with anything. I think I chose read my book before. What to do? What to do? I don't know what the right thing to do here is, if there's a right thing to do. I chose read my book, but I don't think it did anything. I say this knowing I used to be one of these people. But it's very hard to approach a person like this. And what if I end up doing something wrong again? Then again, our character has theoretically learned his lesson at this point. So maybe we should go talk to her. Like, give this whole thing another try. Like, maybe she'll help him figure out how to do this correctly. That kind of thing. Does that sound like a plan to everybody in the chat? I wish there was a Twitch extension out there. Out of all the extensions we've had built up, like the bits leaders and the Hearthstone overlays, the one I wish we had was something that automatically made a poll every time you come to a decision in a game like this. Ergo, we think he has, but hasn't. So that's a vote against go talk with Hanako. The only decision left then is read my book. Well, I want to know. I want to know what's going to happen. Shizune and Misha. The book won't run screaming away. Well. Oh, alright. I trust you guys. Misha and Shizune are still arguing about their choice for lunch place. Incomprehensible for a pair of high school students who have to take a taxi at least to make it to downtown and back in time. Haven't you finished already?
Oh, sorry, Hee-chan. Were you waiting for us? You don't have any plans?
Plans?
For lunch?
Well, I don't, so I thought I could hang with you guys. Misha smiles victoriously at my lack of plans, and excitedly translates my response to Shizune.
If you don't have anything specific planned out, do you want to eat lunch with me and Shi-chan? Shi-chan.
Oh, Shi-chan. I thought it was Si-chan this whole time. Wow, okay. Which I guess makes sense, because it's Shizune.
Shi-chan. We're going to town for lunch, though. Don't worry, Hee-chan. It's not that far.
Sure, I'll come with you. And with that, we leave the classroom. Just around the corner of the hallway, something hits me in the chest with the force of a runaway train. Ugh! Opening my eyes, I see a pair of saucer-like green eyes looking up at me. They belong to the perpetrator, a short girl who bumped into me and has now fallen down onto the hallway floor. She wears a PE uniform and a very worried frown. The former strikes me as a rather strange thing to have on during a lunch break. More striking than that, though, is that she doesn't have legs. Or she does, but they are not flesh and bone. Her pale and very much flesh and bone thighs end in shins and feet made of some metallic or plastic-like material. They look disturbingly artificial and unnatural. It almost makes me forget that my chest is hurting. But hey, they work, right? I just finished downloading this. I'm glad at least somebody out there is getting to try it. What was it? The writing, right? Or the fact that all of the characters are so well fleshed out? Or you just want to try your own routes? The girl winces a little, rubs her nose, and jumps up.
Oh, man. Hey, are you alright? I'm sorry about that, really. I wasn't looking where I was going, and you just came out of nowhere. Sorry.
She's looking really apologetic, in the hurt puppy way of looking apologetic. I quickly forget about being angry or anything, since hurt puppies are my weak spot. It's okay, don't worry about it. Ah! I say that, but there's a stinging pain growing in my chest. I know that this is about the biggest possible danger for my condition. Don't overexert yourself. Don't forget your medication, and most of all, don't get hit in the chest. I try to rub my solar plexus to chase the pain away, holding my breath in an attempt to hear my heartbeat. It seems normal.
Hey, should I get a nurse?
The worried, high-pitched voice of the girl snaps me out of it. I stare at her for a few seconds, dumbfounded, till I realize that I probably looked worse off than I really was, doubled over myself and looking all tense. Damn, I'm overly worried about my heart. No need. I'm fine. Managing to say something in response, I pull myself upright, feeling my sore ribs one last time, and take a deep breath. What's up, Quez? Oh. Wait, I think I remember Okay. I think I do recall this conversation now. She just knocked the wind out of me. She just knocked the wind out of me. Big time, but it's nothing more than that.
You sure you're okay? I hit you pretty hard.
I cannot do... I am physically incapable of making my voice go high enough to do, like, cute, bubbly anime girl, you know? That whole, her voice is so high, only dogs can hear it kind of thing. You'll have to work with my best here. Sorry, guys. That's okay. I said I was fine, and nothing's broken. No harm done.
That's good.
I feel a hand on my shoulder. At the same time, the girl's eyes widen. I don't have time to look behind me because Shizune is already shoving me aside and stomping over to the girl, signing furiously at her.
Miss Ibarazaki, I saw that. Running in the halls is strictly forbidden.
Misha translates right on Shizune's tail, but her voice is girlishly playful, not full of the divine fury Shizune's arm movements would seem to call for.
Sorry, I was just going to get some stuff and I was in a kind of hurry. You've been told this 1,000 times before. Your reckless behavior endangers other students, and even worse, it's explicitly against the school regulations.
The girl blushes and starts to fidget nervously, like a little child caught misbehaving. It's so cute, I find myself smiling.
I know that. I was just... Make sure that this will not happen again. Although I'm sure telling you this is futile and only causes me further headache when you choose to ignore the regulations. Got that, Emmy?
Small girl sticks her tongue out in response.
Nah. I gotta go. Teacher will have my head. I promised to help with printouts, but I went running instead. Sorry, but I gotta change and everything.
Before Misha or Shizune or I can say anything, she's already bolted from where she was a second ago, almost halfway towards the stairwell. Especially when you almost give a guy a heart attack by hitting him in the chest. Shizune looks like she's about to go nuclear on the spot, so I smile at her in a vain attempt to calm her down.
You okay, Hichan? That Ibarazaki girl is always like that, causing troubles to others.
You know, I'm pretty sure Shizune wouldn't call me Hichan.
Never mind.
Yeah, anyway, I'm okay. Just got the wind knocked out of me.
That's great, Hichan.
I wouldn't call that great, but I'll let it slide this one time.
So let's hurry to have lunch. We promise it'll be great.
I'll take your word for it. What kind of a place is it? A restaurant or something?
It's a tea house, Hichan.
A tea house? That sounds kind of fancy. What's up, Soniku? Welcome to the chat, man. How are you doing tonight? Hopefully as good as I'm doing right now. You know, something just crossed my head, man. There's something I've been meaning to do for a while, and for some reason I just thought of it. Or does this not work on mobile? No, it does. It gave me the message and everything. So yeah, there you go. That's something I should have done a long time ago, dude. Like, you've been watching me since what? My Okamiden Let's Play on YouTube? You've earned your seniority. Like, you're a mod in the Discord. I should have made you one here for a while now. No problem, dude. Keep on keeping on. That's the reason I gave it to you in the first place.
Why are you looking at your wallet, Hichan? It's okay, if you don't have any money, we'll cover for you.
That's really nice of you, thanks.
It's okay, Hichan. After all, we're friends, right, Hichan?
It's only been 3 days. Are we really friends that quickly? It's a survival tactic, dude. You go into school, you need to find friends immediately. But hearing that makes me happy.
It's only for today, no, though. And only if you accept right now. Do you want to go, Hichan?
Start wondering if this is some kind of trap. Is this Misha's suggestion or Shizune's? This is important. I'm still a little apprehensive about the possible motives of a girl whose favorite pastime is the game of world domination. No, I'm just being paranoid. Actually, they've grown on me already. And I do have to go to town sometime. So, why not now, with them? If you're lucky, some of your friends will be sociopaths with weapons, like my college buddies. And I just sit here with a smile on my face as I remember one of the best friends I've ever had as an eldritch god. I've never actually been to a tea house before. All my expectations are from what I've seen about them on TV. But those are period dramas, and these are modern times. It might just be a regular cafe, and they're just calling it a tea house. Either way, I'm curious about that too, so there's another reason for me to join them. Sure.
That's great, Hee-chan. That's great, yay!
Misha hops up and down briefly to show how happy she is, which causes a few heads to turn towards us. Shizune opts for a polite, tiny clap that lasts all of 2 seconds before going back to looking stoic as usual. She gave us a golf clap. Would it kill you to be a little happier, Shizune?
No, I wasn't aware that Hee-chan was a king.
Shizune pushes her glasses up as Misha delivers her message totally without sarcasm. I guess it would sting more if she could say it with the intent Shizune meant behind it. So for once, I'm happy to have Misha as a barrier between us. I'm not telling you to jump for joy just because I'm having lunch for you. I'm not that arrogant. She seems to accept this, and we head for town with Shizune leading the way. Watching her walk in front of me, I notice that she walks very quickly, taking long, heavy, determined strides. Maybe if we were traveling through a snowstorm, it would make sense to walk like that, but it's a perfectly clear day. Anyway, it's making me feel exhausted just watching her. We arrive at the tea house, and what Misha says is, quote, record time, likely because of Shizune's blazing pace. See, that impersonation works because it's already me doing the voice, and never mind. This is a little too meta, I know. I feel a little let down seeing that it is not a huge feudal-era building with mats on the floor and women in kimonos pouring the tea. Which her? You have 2 with you. That's a good point, but knowing what we know about these characters... No, wait a minute. Would it be Shizune or Misha? The world may never know. It actually is more like a cafe. As I thought. Not that it's a bad thing, it looks very nice. As soon as I walk through the doors, someone zooms in front of us, as if they had been lying in wait the entire time.
Welcome! Thank you for patronizing this establishment.
The top half of her body drops forward in a bow that looks like an axe chopping through wood. I'm surprised to see it's none other than Yuko, the librarian. Hey, I didn't know you worked here.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm a waitress. I've been working here for 1 year, 6 months, and 2 weeks now. Thank you for choosing to come here. Is there anything I can do for you? Hi, Yu-chan! Hello?
Misha, you both know her too?
Of course, Hee-chan. Yu-chan works in the library, after all. I don't go there often myself, but see, Shi-chan knows her. And we both come here a lot, so it's like we see her all the time. Yes, should I get you your usuals? And if there's anything you would want, please feel free to tell me at any time.
You don't have to be so formal. We all know each other. It's also pretty empty today, so she can afford to take it easy. I was hoping she would stop looking so nervous, but my words have the opposite effect.
No, I'm a waitress. This is my job. I have to do it properly. Okay, that works for Shi-chan. Yu-chan, please get Shi-chan what she usually gets, and I'll have some green tea with milk and honey.
No pressure.
Yes, but this is my job, and there is always pressure. I'm sorry, I'm arguing with a customer. Sorry.
Yuko takes another 100 per hour mile bow. 100-mile-per-hour bow. There we go. I can read correctly. I've only been doing it for the past 28 years. Yeah, I have to get myself used to that now. My birthday was in August. I decide to give up and join Shizune and Misha at a table. As soon as I sit down, Yuko comes by, looking even more upset than before. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I forgot to take your order. I'm not attentive to customers. That's not right. I'm sorry. If there's anything I do to make up for it, please tell me. That's okay, Yu-chan. He-chan didn't order anything, so that's not your fault. Don't be upset. That's true. I guess I should order now, but I don't really know what this place serves, and there doesn't seem to be a menu. Yeah, she's right. I'll have some coffee and a sandwich, if you have one. Whichever sandwich you think is the best tasting one here, because Shizune's paying for my meal. Shizune frowns and gives me alternating looks of surprise, indignation, and bemusement, unable to decide between the three. Hey Chan, just how much money do you have in your wallet? Can't be that little, right? We should split the cost 3 ways to make it fair. Yeah, I won't accept anything else. Misha turns to Yuko. Yu-chan, say Chan wants 3 of whatever is the most expensive item on the menu. No. Just kidding, Yu-chan. Okay, I think that the turkey sandwich is the most delicious sandwich, and it comes with free soup. A good employee would try to recommend the item that is there's the most of, though, or the most expensive item. Am I bad at my job? No, that sounds good. I'll have that, and some coffee. Okay. Phew, zooms off, and a few minutes later, she's back. She comes back a few minutes later with our drinks and my sandwich. Shizune seems to be fine with just her tea, while Misha also ordered a parfait. I don't know why, because I can't imagine many other things that would go worse with tea. Oh well, take a bite out of my sandwich. It's very good. Hey Chan, have you thought about joining the student council? Huh? Don't talk with your mouth full, Hee-chan. I washed my food down with a sip of coffee, which is also surprisingly good. But now's not the time to remark on how this place has good food. You said you understood it was too early to expect me to make a decision this quickly. That was like 3 hours ago. A man should be decisive, Hee-chan. You really should join the student council, Hee-chan. Come on, it'll be fun. People always say, come on, it'll be fun, about things that are never, ever fun. Don't you believe me, Hee-chan? Is it Shizune saying that, or Misha? Not a cute expression, but the effect is somewhat jarring. Like she has split personalities. Hee-chan, that's depressing. I just want to spend time with you. That's right, Shi-chan. Yeah, that's a good point, too. Yep, this is beneficial to everyone. It solves all our problems. Yeah, I also thought Hee-chan would appreciate it. That makes me sad. Suddenly I feel really left out. It's rude to talk about someone without letting them in the conversation. Shizune adjusts her glasses, laughing to herself. Aw, but it's true, Hee-chan. You'll be helping us out. Membership has been really low this year. How low? That's a secret, Hee-chan. No, I want to know how low it was. How low is low? 5. Lower? Well... 0. Hee-chan, that isn't important. What matters is that the number is low. And that's why we'd appreciate you giving us a hand, especially with the festival coming up soon. And it looking to be a busy year ahead in general. Love how Shizune still has the stereotypical mannerisms of the bossy know-it-all. Again, like I said, the character that never says a single word, at least not directly, and yet she's one of the most expressive people here, which is weird when you put her right next to Misha, whose entire point is that she's expressive. There is some really cool dynamics going on in the characters here, which is why I'm glad people have given this game a look here. So you're not going to answer my question?
Nope.
I sigh and straighten up in my chair, trying to look as defiant as possible because this seems like a big issue, and I do not want to let it go that easily. I feel silly, like a blowfish. Fine, at least tell me this. How many people are in the student council? Total.
Well, Hee-chan, we're definitely undermanned, but we have enough members to get the job done. Yep.
It's not just the two of you, is it?
Hee-chan, that's funny. But it's definitely not just us.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure?
Yep.
I stare at them both, trying to see if they will slip up and confirm my worst fears. Misha frowns, looking uncomfortable, but that's probably because I'm staring at her. Shizune, on the other hand, returns my gaze with one of her own. Maybe she's challenging me, peering at me over the rims of her glasses like that. So teasing, and surprisingly immature, like a little girl beckoning someone to play with her.
Hee-chan, your two cute student council representatives have been trying to make you feel welcome and are even treating you to lunch. You should show your gratitude by joining the council so you can at least help them out.
But if I join the council, I can't join art club, and if I don't join art club, This is the darkest future possible.
Yeah, it would be great if you could just file some papers for us, and the festival is coming up and we have to build some stalls for the games and food. Just a few, so if you were there, it would be a lot easier for us. Please, Hee-chan?
What an interesting good cop, bad cop routine. I'll give it a shot. Why not? Just a shot. Okay, I'll give it a trial run. It doesn't mean I'm joining or anything definite, just that I'll help out a little, and then I'll see. And this makes us even for lunch. I'm not doing this because I want to. Finish off the last of my sandwich, and this makes Misha notice for the first time in a while that she has a parfait. She starts digging in, much to Shizune's chagrin, because I can tell from the way she plays with her fingers that she had a lot to say. Every time I look at Shizune, she looks back with such focus and intensity. This time is no exception. Her face is expressionless. Maybe she's thinking. Eventually, it gives way to a smile. She signs something, and obviously I can't understand it at all. She has to know that. Then she does it again, a childish playfulness showing through in the speed and energy of her gestures. Misha, what did she say? Misha looks up from her parfait, torn between wanting to help out and going back to eating. What does this mean? I try my best to make the same movements with my hands that Shizune did. I come to realize quickly that this isn't very easy. Imagine doing this all day as your only means of communication.
Sorry, Hee-chan, I can't tell you.
Why not? Is it as an insult?
No, Hee-chan, I can't tell you because it means something nice.
Something nice, huh? Well, they've gone back to their tea and food, so I guess this conversation is over for now. I don't really understand, but this makes me wish that I could. Maybe I'd even try learning sign language. This school might have courses for it. Would I really do that? I think about it as I finish the rest of my coffee. Wonder why I'd even be motivated to think about it. I'm enjoying myself so much that I don't even notice that we were supposed to be back in class 10 minutes ago. Even if I were to start heading back to school right now, it would take at least 30 minutes? Maybe. I can't risk running fast with my condition, so it would take at least that long to get there. Well, 10 minutes late already as I am. It wouldn't matter even if I could teleport.
Something wrong, Hee-chan?
I just realized lunch break ended 10 minutes ago. It's only my third day and I'm already going to miss a class.
Yep, you're already late.
Hey, that's not funny, so are you. And aren't you two in the student council? You're setting a bad example.
Hee-chan is so moral. But Hee-chan is right. he is late for class, and it looks like you're cutting too, Hee-chan, because you're not making an effort to go. And as your student council representatives, we're going to have to do something about this and make sure you're punished for it.
But you two dragged me out here. This is all your fault. Take responsibility.
Hee-chan, we were just taking a prospective student council member out to try and recruit him. It's business. But you're not a member of the council, so there's no excuse.
Yes, there is. That prospective student council member is clearly me.
Yes. Are you going to join the student council, Hee-chan?
Shizune raises her teacup haughtily and wags her outstretched pinky finger up and down.
Hee-chan, if only you were a member of the student council. But you can still join now, Hee-chan. If you join now, you won't be in any trouble at all. And we'll be able to take more nice excursions like this all the time. It'll be fun.
Oh, so it's blackmail now, huh? I start to think that maybe this was all an elaborate setup leading to this moment. Maybe Shizune lured me out here, banking on the possibility that I'd lose track of time and be forced into this situation. Diabolical. Well, considering what I know of her, I should have been more on my guard. But to admit that I got myself into this even slightly would be unforgivable. I try to read Shizune's intentions in her eyes. She just returns my stare blankly. Innocently. She takes a sip of tea like she's mocking me.
By the way, Hee-chan, I didn't plan this at all. This just happened to work out this way.
I was almost about to drop my theory is paranoia, but this puts a new spin on things. I almost fall over in awe. So it really was an elaborate setup from the very beginning, all just to burn me and force me to join the student council.
You look so nervous, Hee-chan. Did you really think we were tricking you this whole time?
You're not?
Hee-chan, you really thought...
Misha frowns, looking heartbroken. Shizune quickly frowns as well, following her lead. How synchronized. Two of a perfect pair. They must be twins.
Hee-chan says she's flattered, Hee-chan, but doing that kind of thing would be a grossly inappropriate abuse of power and imposing on your free will. And it would be blackmail, too. Hee-chan would never do anything like that. Never!
I think about asking Misha, are you sure, but resist the urge to.
Anyway, Hee-chan, what Hee-chan said is true. Since you're with us and we're doing student council work, it's okay if we miss a class or two. Not that this is a good excuse to do so. Or one that should be used more than 3 times a month. Or something that can or should be abused. So, we must definitely return to class. Eventually.
Shizune waves Yuko over and points to her empty teacup, indicating that she wants another one, as Misha scrambles to finish her parfait so she can order something else. Maybe I should as well. I am still hungry, and the portions here are a little on the small side. Most importantly, Shizune's paying for everything. With that in mind, I ask Yuko for another sandwich. Welcome back, Arbok. Speaking of dinner, by the time we leave the shop, I've missed not just 1 class, but 2. Shizune and Misha seem content to let the whole day pass by, stalling for even more time by suggesting a tour of the town that turns out to cover a 2-block radius from where we start. Inappropriate abuse of power. You're quoting Nixon there, ma'am. Eventually, we do go back to school. The rest of the day is business as usual. When classes are over, Shizune and Misha pack their bags and leave the room before me. Come to think of it, this is the first time they've left me alone. It's strange. I almost miss them. The room empties quickly. I'm the last one out the door. When I try leaving the lobby, however, an arm lowers itself in front of me like a toll bridge gate, stopping me in my tracks. Oh, hi, Shizune. Pair of hands from behind cover my eyes, followed by a sharp burst of laughter.
Hi, Hee-chan, guess who?
Misha asked the question completely without sarcasm, meaning she doesn't think that I instantly knew it was her for many obvious reasons. I wonder who it could be. Well, it's definitely not Misha.
Haha, it is.
Misha swings around to stand in front of me, beside Shizune. For a second, I thought we were actually being kidnapped. I'm not going to lie, that's how much this game had me there. You don't see that too often, like things that come right in your face when you're playing a first-person game.
Hee-chan, are you busy right now?
Busy going to my room, yeah? See you tomorrow. I try to make a break for it, but Shizune is too agile to get past. As someone who used to play soccer, this is embarrassing. Not to mention that this behavior is drawing some odd looks. I should just quit while I'm ahead.
Hee-chan, could you please go upstairs and get a few things for us from the art room?
Why me?
Haha! Shi-chan thinks that if the art teacher sees us, he'll say hi, and she doesn't like him.
Ignore him.
He tried, but even though Shi-chan is deaf, he'll try to say hi anyway.
Run away?
I never run.
The tone of finality is so strong that I can pick it up even through Misha. I can see there is no use pursuing this further with Shizune. Misha, why can't you get them?
The stairs make me dizzy, Hee-chan.
Shizune nods as if to confirm it.
Please, Hee-chan. Any of those things is build stalls for the festival. You said you would help out a little, right? Right?
I really shouldn't, but I guess just this once would be alright. Okay.
That's great, Hee-chan. Thank you. This is what we need.
She holds out a piece of paper for me to take. I'm sure this list was made by Shizune. It's handwritten, but each letter is perfectly formed and uniform, as if it were typed. Not just that, but it's exhaustively detailed, complete with numbers, bullet points, and even little check boxes. You know, I thought a completely different scene was going to happen here. I thought we were going to meet the doctor again, but it just goes to show what kind of playthrough I did in the beginning. Missed a lot of important points, I guess. What it boils down to is that she wants paint, paintbrushes, poster board, and an easel. Just different types and specific numbers of each. Wonder how I'm gonna carry all this stuff down the stairs without breaking my neck. Are you taking Shizune's route, or is this just part of the overarching story? No, this is just part of the story so far. I don't think I've been led astray, but... Then again, my character isn't a... It's not my character. This is... The character I'm invested in is on the defensive right now, mentally. Very suspicious of everybody around him. Who knows, maybe him and Kenji are a little more alike than they think. Yes, this is what we know about her so far, Quez. Stairs make her dizzy, and she has a lot of trouble with really big words. Or that might just be something about her specifically. That's more a personality than something else. Classrooms closest to ours are designated belonging to classes 3-1 and 3-2 on the right side, and 3-4 on the left side, each door looking exactly the same. Further down the corridor still, with identical doors, are rooms that I didn't think were used for classes. I guess the art room is not a classroom as such. Carefully push open the furthest door and peek in. It's a classroom, but seems rather badly kept, or not in use. Am I in the right place? Desks and chairs are all around the room. A thin layer of dust settled on them. There's some easels in the corners, so at least this looks like the right place. The room is flushed in sunlight from the big windows, shadows creeping all over the desks. Specks of dust are dancing in the stagnant air, making the beams of light almost visible. Chokingly, I call into the empty room. Anybody, huh? Something catches my eye, and I stop mid-sentence. Sitting on a desk is a short-haired girl, curiously wearing a boy's uniform, with a fork between her toes, a morsel of food stuck firmly on the end. This odd way of dining seems to be caused by her apparent lack of hands, but her presence here is what takes me aback even more. How did I miss her before? She's sitting in a corner very still, but I still somehow took her as part of the furnishing or a statue at first glance. I'm not being too observant today as a whole. The girl seems to be frozen in place, staring at me with her huge eyes like a rabbit in headlights. She's staring at me, her mouth wide open, ready to accept the fork. I'm staring at her, my mouth wide open, suddenly remembering I didn't finish my sentence and trying to think if I should. This weird stalemate keeps us both stunned into silence, punctuated only by the wall clock ticking rhythmically. Hello? Girl stuffs the forkful in her mouth, is now staring at me expectantly while chewing. This is a bit awkward. Hello. I was told to pick up some supplies from here. For some festival stalls, I think. I didn't think there would be someone here.
There isn't. That's why I came here too.
She picks up another forkful. Doesn't that mean you're here then? She raises her eyebrows as if she was suspecting my observation was false.
You're pretty observant. I guess it does. But who are you?
Girl is pretty straightforward, isn't she?
Nakai. Hisao Nakai. I just transferred in on Monday. I'm Ren. Tezuka Ren. Ren Tezuka. I won't shake hands with you, but at least we know who we are now. That's very nice.
Her deadpan manner of talking makes it hard to determine whether she's joking about shaking hands or not. Hey, gotta learn to laugh at yourself. That's part of it. One of the reasons maybe I like this character so much. Kinda bothers me joking about these matters doesn't feel appropriate at all. Well, I'm trying to figure what's appropriate and whether this girl is. While I'm trying to figure out what's appropriate and whether this girl is, she seems to have lost interest in me, is now gazing yearningly back at her food. I'd like to know why no one has asked what Hisao's disability is. All things considering, he's pretty normal. No, you weren't here for the intro. I forgot about that. There was a whole bit of the game explaining this whole part. Arrhythmia. Problem with his heart. It's not very strong. Can't let his heartbeat get too fast or he could actually die. It's one of those things, he can't be without supervision, because if like, remember when we got hit in the hallway? Can't let his heart go too fast? Yeah, that. Exactly that. Well,
Can I continue my lunch? If you don't mind me, I won't mind you. You need to get your stuff, the supplies are at the back.
Go right ahead, but lunch? School's already over for the day.
What word would you use then? There's no word for a meal you eat after lunch, but before dinner, right? Bothers me very much too, but I don't really know what I should say.
I don't think you're supposed to eat a meal between lunch and dinner to begin with.
But I'm hungry now. My delicious boxed lunch would go to waste otherwise. I have curry. It's very delicious.
With much decisiveness, Rin once again picks up the fork between her toes, and with at least as much impoliteness, she points it straight at me.
So, Nakai, what brings you to this place?
Like I said, I was told to look for these things.
No, the school. From outside, you look fine. Is your problem inside?
I come to a full stop, opening my mouth but not getting a word out.
I can guess. I'm good at guessing. Better than most people.
Rin cuts me off before I can answer her question or skirt around it somehow. I don't know which I would have done. I froze in front of this issue again. I haven't even told anyone here about my condition, or maybe it's only because it hasn't really come up. I do get the feeling that not making issues of this is a part of the social code here, as the teacher said. I wonder if the people here could relate. Probably not any better than any normal person could. I can't relate to Shizune's circumstances, or Lily's either. Naturally, while I go through this in my head, Rin keeps considering what my condition can be, with an overtly contemplative look on her face. She puts her fork between her lips and leans back, looking at the ceiling as if the answer was written up there. A beam of light illuminates her face from the window side, creating a mask of dark shadow on the other side.
I don't think it's anything in your head. Something in your guts would be boringly ordinary, like this lunch of mine. Endless delicious. Problem must be in your pants.
This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of state. This messed up Sherlock Holmes kind of statement and the sheer lack of tact it was delivered with catches me completely off guard. I think I might have reeled back even physically as Rin's eyes widen in revelation and astonishment.
So I was right. There's something wrong with your tackle, isn't there?
Still partially in shock, but recognizing the need to reply something, I spit out the first thing I can think of. No, nothing like that. I have a heart problem. Arrhythmia. I said it. More like blurted it out, but I said it. The girl in front of me purses her lips together and glowers at me, looking very disappointed.
How boring. Trouble in the pants would have been much more scandalous.
What's with this reaction? I'm sorry to let you down.
I forgive you. Just, I collect people, and a person with, that kind of problem would have been really great.
Collect people?
People with different problems.
Huh, so you just, go around asking people what's wrong with them?
Pretty much.
I see. With little left to say, Bryn resumes her lunch, and the conversation dies away. But I keep thinking about what was said. It's the first time I told anyone about my condition. Only other people have either known about it already or heard about it from someone else. Or didn't need to know about it. Like every other student here so far. Should I have told it as a natural part of introductions? Is it expected of me? Hi, I'm Hasao. I have a very serious heart condition. Is that how I'm supposed to go around introducing myself from now on? As if our disabilities would define us. What a disgusting thought. Or maybe this Tezuka girl just has an unnatural interest in such things. As I walk to the back of the room to pick up the items on Misha's list, a chance opens to study Rin from the corner of my eye. Her hair is a burnt auburn, almost orange, and cropped short. Long hair would probably be impossible with no arms. The boy's uniform and the lack of arms make her look very thin, almost scrawny. She's not particularly pretty, except for her murky green eyes, which flicker restlessly from below her short bangs, even when she eats. The distance and the shadow make it seem like they don't reflect sunlight at all, but instead absorb all of it within them like deep wells. She moves her feet almost as deftly as a normal person would use their arms. However, I can see how this sight could discomfort people, especially while eating. Makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, at least. I hesitate to think about the word unnatural, but it's too late now, isn't it? I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things, but after enough time passes, the silence grows too uncomfortable. So I try to force some conversation out of this strange girl. You'll see, Quez, you'll see. There's a reason I love this character so much. You know me, this should make perfect sense.
Oh, Arfuck. God bless it, man.
Crime a niddly, dude. What the? Alright. Well, you gotta find some way to get your kicks. I'll move on now. At least you apologized. Like I said, you gotta learn to laugh at yourself. I keep searching the cabins and shelves for Misha's things. Oh, right. So, do you always eat alone and this late? Or do you get the occasional visitor?
Visitors. Maybe you are my first occasional visitor. But I don't always eat alone either. Sometimes I eat with a certain person on the roof if she's not horsing around.
Horsing?
She likes to do sports.
Oh. And that's all I can think of to say. Both of us fall silent again as Rin forks the last bits of her meal to her mouth. I look down at my haul and double-check it with Misha's list. Seems I have everything except plywood. So I think I have all the things now.
It's very nice for you. Don't feel obliged to stay. I was about to take a nap anyway. You need to do whatever you're gonna do with that stuff anyway, right? Or perhaps you like to watch girls sleeping?
I'm not sure what to make of this, but Rin looks serious. Even if I did, I think I have to be going. I'll catch you around, Tezuka.
You can call me Ren. I feel that our relationship is, at this point, good enough to warrant this much.
I was already turning to make my exit, but she draws me back in. Fine. And I'm Hisao.
Then you are.
Rin looks at me hard in the eyes, but that intimidating feeling you get when someone stares at you isn't there. It's like she's actually not looking at me at all. She blinks a couple of times, and I can't figure out why a pause like this just popped between us out of nowhere.
See you later, Hisao.
There's something like a tiny smile there in her face. Maybe. Quietly back out of the room. As I shut the door in front of my face, I whisper to myself, what an intriguing person. From inside, I hear a muffled sing-song voice.
I heard that. What did she hear?
I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten to jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. Briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about a global feminist conspiracy, but I push that thought aside. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof. She couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited.
No, wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today.
She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing anyway. What are you doing here?
You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's not good, Hee-chan.
She wags her finger at me scoldingly.
I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you are tardy.
Oh, sorry. I got the things here. Was just going to bring them.
I think you were up to some mischief, Hee-chan. Who was in there with you, I wonder?
Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple times. Shizune immediately pushes her way past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. Here we go. I don't remember exactly what this conversation was, only that it was hilarious watching these two personalities bounce off one another. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Rin, frozen in place apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders. From suppressed rage, I'm sure. You know, I can kind of understand that, Arbok. I think my family has a similar philosophy. Instead of blowing up, Shizune just takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me, too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. Hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness.
Hello.
Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with a half-interested, half-sleepy face.
Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing? You are absolutely not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. Sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular.
It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. At any rate, she ignores Shizune/Misha's scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs.
Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's your project going? Will it be done for the festival?
Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her.
Keep wondering about that myself, too. And? We'll think about it harder.
As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown.
Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it.
Rin nods assertively.
We'll think more seriously.
Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There'll be dire consequences if I don't. The end of the world as we know it. Like weekends usually are, but more dire. You'll have to fight a dire rat. It's like a rat, but dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint can doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. Lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. Heavy. Yeah, sure. Where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she steps off to the hallway. Me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to another because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Or maybe I'm walking weird because of the extra weight. Starting to see why you was chasing Rin. Give it time. Give it time. You haven't seen half of it yet. That's kind of the point, though. It's a good visual novel. It doesn't tell you everything about the character right off the bat. Seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because, obviously, it's me who he had some business with. There's something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So, we will do a few tests regularly. What I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here. My parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital. Not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school. Both the student base and the faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. This is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. Thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such. I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. Pick up and lift the can up and down a few times, like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. Stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, and comes back like it was never gone. Tezuka, would you give us a second? He just grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you're still in your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Alright. Yeah, I promise. Definitely. That shouldn't even be a decision there. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer. I remember that confrontation being a lot scarier and more blunt than before. Then again, that probably just goes to how well written that character is. Like, it's something I notice now. Like, it's why I gave him the inflections that he did. Like, occasionally very serious, but otherwise very bright. Because health is something you need to take seriously. Whenever he gets to something like that, that's the moment where, like, it's about nice and being a people person, but at the same time, people can be difficult. He realizes that. He's been a doctor for how long now? How much exercise are we talking? Probably enough to strengthen his heart at the very least. He has been in a sick bed for what, a couple months now? Probably not enough to set the arrhythmia off. You know? He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer. And I walk to Rin, who's been waiting idly against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. I'd honestly recommend against weights, actually. High intensity and all that. And no sprints, period. Not on a weak heart. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. You getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? Comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. Nurse seems to be happily ignorant about that confidentiality, too, talking about that kind of thing in public. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically. Her head is staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. I don't know why this is so hard for me. Feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer. She neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I'm still not quite used to all this. The hospital was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. This never goes away. This is another thing that I love about this game, is that this character, his journey, like him slowly, like him trying to come to terms with this as it goes on. This is not something that stops being a thing. It is always there. You are always being reminded of exactly what's going on in his head. It keeps you going. Like, you want this guy to overcome this. You want to see him win, in a manner of speaking. The fact that the game got me to care about that says volumes. Huh. Yeah, I understand. That's a good point, Quez. For all his sound knows, the tour of town he got qualified. This is fair, actually. Yeah, but then again, as we've always talked about, even my favorite games on Earth aren't perfect. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onward towards the dorm. I don't know why I'm making recommendations to a fictional character that can't respond. Hey, it's fascinating information. Like, I'm glad I know these kinds of things. Never discount any bit of information you've got in your brain. It'll be useful eventually. Just you watch. Stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. Dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground, beside the wall. See? The left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of a statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So, this is your project? You did this? Yes. Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See? I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. But maybe I'm used to it by now. Can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well.
I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat?
Well, paintings tend to be flat.
Not like that flat. You know, flat, like some people are. No substance, no meat where there should be some.
I know a few girls who... Okay, I get it, but I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Ren shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, "Suit yourself," without saying it. Looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there.
I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it gets too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any.
Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. Really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though.
It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, you know, those people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe?
Not that I know of.
I get it. Her thingy has nothing to do with that.
She gives me a sly look for some reason. No, it doesn't.
Let's do it then.
So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that quickly melt into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best.
Add half a splash of green.
Crouch down to pick up the can of bright green.
The other green. This green.
I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl.
No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add?
No idea. You're the artist here. Hint of a smile appears in the corners of her mouth.
Do you lack an opinion?
No, it's just that I have no idea.
It's okay, because I just got an idea. Add more white.
With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white into the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter.
That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow.
Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. This hits way too close to home. I have done this exact shit to some of the people I've worked with. And some of the people I've tried to share my ideas with. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. You guys have watched videos before about this, right? Like, I may be a creative individual, but I'm still fascinated by other artists, like speed painting things, something like Drawfee, or those guys who basically do a podcast while somebody draws something in the background. Like, watching that come together, understanding the skill, but Like, I've been trying to understand the theory just so I can really appreciate how everything comes together there. Like, why things work the way they do. Why, if you add shading to this particular part of your head, art is fascinating to me. Artists are fascinating to me. And that line about the imaginary intimacy, he makes a point. It's because of that magic. Like, when you understand how art is a trick, it's about making colors come together to make it look a particular way. When you understand the theory behind it works, it loses some of that magic. It's like, oh, I get it. But drawings to me are completely different. It's like, the more I learn about how art actually works, the more fascinating it gets. Maybe because I still lack the talent on my own. We're just so far removed from reality to begin with. It's just... I like other artists because each one of us, we see the world in very strange and interesting and fascinating ways. I like people that can mentally challenge me, that make me reconsider the world around me, that make me view things from a different perspective, or I just can't figure them out. I can't really see what's going on in their head. That's why I really like her. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. And even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breath and sound. We stay there late until the evening, until it becomes too dark to paint properly. 15-second nap and it's day again. However, that would be a good point to stop, I think. Sound of an alarm pulls me out of a fitful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. This is I am loving every second of this, but you could drop like I said at the beginning, you could drop an entire day playing Katawa Shoujo. There is just so much to this game. There are novels worth of writing here. So unfortunately, we will have to cut this off here for tonight, but I've made a political decision right now. This is definitely a game I'm going to come back to. I want to play this again. I want to see this route through to its end. I want to know her. I want to know more. I want to see more here. Yes, I will definitely check the Discord after this quest, but until that point, let's save where we were. Create a new save state. She's even on it. That will bring us to the end for tonight. Yes, I'm sure I want to quit. So, that brings us to a few different things right now. Oh, let's turn off the display capture for a second. Somebody actually asked me about this. This is a D20. Let's see here. A 3. No, that doesn't mean anything. And yes, I do believe we will get a nat 20 one of these days. Sonicu can relate to this. He knows what happened the first time. Ooh, hang on a second, Arbok. Did he really just go live? Well, that's an easy raid target. Alright. That answers that question for me. So, go to the channel. Is it showing up here yet? Or maybe the systems just haven't caught up with each other. No, mute that. Pause it, too. We don't need the infinity hole going on here. Stream after stream after stream. There you are. Let's go to the channel. Is he live or is he not? No, he is! Alright, so that answers that question. Now that I have a shortcut back to his channel here. Don't go there yet, we don't have a raid message. What should the raid message be, is the question. What's a good one? What do you guys think? What should our raid message be to start this off? Something impactful and interesting that happened. A funny line somewhere. I'm halfway tempted to make KG did nothing wrong. Feminist conspiracy would be a little too on the nose. Dexter's feet is a good one. Love is blind. You know what? That's a fun one. And people who don't know a thing about Katawa Shoujo wouldn't get it anyway. So that's a good message. Ha-bam! Alright, go, go, go! Everybody pile in, let's do this! Y'all can see me, right? Just making sure. You haven't even started the stream yet, and already you're getting a raid, dude. Love is blind. Sprayed.
There's no other way to describe what happened. They were fast times, but I also died a bunch, so...
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Brought to you by
Who the hell
pizza.
knows how this will go? So yeah, tonight is...
I wonder if he'll actually catch it here.
This should take about 20 minutes.
That's List's
and we're
proposal.
Gonna be doing a Castlevania 1 race tonight, and I'm gonna get destroyed, because Tim is in it, so we're fucked. But it'll be a good watch.
Oh, come on, please. Please. I'm begging, please
for
notice
those wondering,
it.
the challenge for this one is as follows. Here, I'll load up... Actually, this is perfect.
I'm waiting with bated breath here. For those of you who have never actually seen...
We have to end our race here. And we have to start from the very beginning.
It might be way too far for anybody to notice it, though.
So we have to destroy Morton. Get there as fast as possible. But we also have to get the Yellow Switch Palace. So it's as fast as possible you can do that. I think the absolute fastest time you could probably get doing that is...
Nah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh, well, we tried. It was worth it. Thank you all for at least helping me with that. So... thank you all for coming tonight, as usual. And please join us again tomorrow night when we will be playing through the next game in the Marathon of Mercy. And I know for a fact some of you are going to be really interested in this one. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Oh, we've actually gotten a Proton John raid before. That was when Tall Man Stan was there too, so that was really cool. So yes, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Tomorrow, we will have a lot of fun with that. Or at least I'll have a lot of fun with that. You guys have yet to be seen. I can't predict how you're going to react to my creations. But that's the fun of art, right? Till then, thank you all for coming. I'll see you again next time. Later.